Yo. All right. Show your work. Volume 10. We are on camera today because I actually am able to have a day off from work. So it's your boy, Nelson, who is original. I'm here with my co-host, my Cody from the West Coast. Introduce yourself, my brother.
Hey, man. As y'all can see now, I'm finally pixelated, so I don't mind being on camera.
My man don't got
My
the
shit was looking like Intelligent Cube. Yeah, they don't know about that.
Yeah, you don't know what iCube is. Shout out to the PlayStation Jam Packs.
Yeah, the demo disc.
I'm showing my ass right. I'm showing my ass at my age.
The age, bro. They don't know about no rapper.
Parappa the rapper. Banks cameras looking like Metal Gear Solid graphics.
Yeah, that shit was looking crazy. The lighting was bad, all that. As y'all can see now, you can see my eyes is low. You can see this mark on my head. I don't know what the fuck that is. So I'm not liking this camera too much because of this. It's too pixelated.
I mean, shit. It's in crystal clear clarity. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got to show the face behind the case. Well, I mean, the good cases, not the bad cases. But yeah, right. Volume 10. Show your work. We here. How you living, bro?
Man, same old thing, man. 1400 come through.
Give me that's what they should be dropping, not fucking drones and bombs in the Middle East. Like, drop my check in my bank account and in mailboxes. But you know, this ain't a political podcast. We can talk about that. We be going on for 2 hours about that shit because the politics is fucked up right now. But
politics just dropped my 1400. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I need that by Monday, Joe.
I don't care about what's going on in Saudi Arabia. Where is my money, sir?
Right. That's all that matters.
All right, word. So for volume 10, we got a lot to talk about. A lot of basketball, but we'll save that for later. I mean, a lot happened with the All-Star game. Kyrie saying Kobe should be the NBA logo. The Atlanta Dream finally getting sold from Kelly Loeffler. Thank God. Mm-hmm. We'll preview the second half schedule as well. That came out. We'll discuss like strength of schedule, who has the toughest schedule, more for who has the easiest road to the playoffs. We'll also talk about what happened yesterday in regard to Zlatan Ibrahmovic and his comments on LeBron James and LeBron clapping back on ESPN right after the Blazers game. But we'll discuss that. I have a promo I got to cut on that as well. And how about the media smoking dust? We talking about the nerds ruining sports. We talk about that every other day, but let's talk about it at a more grander scale. And a couple trade rumors, but we'll start first with Tiger Woods. This happened Tuesday or Wednesday, right? It was in the middle of the week. Tiger Woods got into a really bad accident. Car was damn near totaled. Car was just mangled. Fortunately, he was able to survive. He was taken out by the jaws of life. He had suffered multiple leg fractures, which they did surgery on. So he broke his fibula and his fibula and his tibia. He broke the major bones. He has plates, rods, screws all over his feet, all over his legs. Like he's gonna be out for a while. Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate. You know, we know he had the back surgery. You know, if you haven't seen the HBO Max documentary that chronicles like that was out. Excuse me, but there was a lot. You know, a lot's been going on with Tiger. So he's coming back from injury. This happens, and you know, fortunately, he's okay. He's alive. He's going through surgery. He's doing what he needs to do. The only thing I don't like is that ESPN acted like he died, and that's all they talked about for fucking 48 hours. And I'm just like, bro, like, I understand you want to talk about it, but don't talk about it as the guy died. The guy's still alive, and he's still, fortunately, here with us, you know. But, I mean, what do you think is next for Tiger? Do you think he should chill? Do you think he should retire? Do you think, like, how long does he take from this? Because this is going to take at least a year for him to come back from these injuries. And then remember, he still was coming back from back issues. So do you think he should retire? Do you think he should just chill? Should he go chill and go play in that senior tournament that doesn't count? Like, what do you think? What do you think he should do?
First of all, thank God, man. You know, he was really washed over by a higher power because as soon as you hear a car accident, you just think all bad. And then especially when they said they had to use the jaws of life to get him out. So thank God, man, he's blessed. Like, you know, from everything that's been happening, because this is the second incident relating to a car as well in the past couple of years. Remember, he got pulled over and I don't know if they charged him with the DUI, but he was like
He was under
under
the
the
influence.
influence. Yeah, of a lot. He was
So,
on everything. So so you could just tell. And the first thing I thought about is, you know what? I've been joking, not heavy joking, but I've been joking enough. I'm gonna fall back because he definitely going through something. He's going through substance abuse problems right now, and this wasn't based on substance abuse, but you could just tell.
Right.
It's still messing with him, and it's probably because his body is in pain. Because I didn't realize how much pain he was until I watched that HBO Max documentary, second part, which went in detail about him having those type of problems.
Right.
So basically at this point right now, I think, of course, he got surgery, and of course, right now he has to sit out. I don't think he should retire. I think the worst thing that could happen for him, or one of the worst things I should say, and I can't speak for him, is him retiring at this point. I think he's still, he can go as long as his body will go, obviously, but I think he has a little bit more time on his hands. It's just, I always think about everything that we don't see as far as using drugs and alcohol to sustain the pain.
Right. I would agree. It's regards to the crash. They actually, this is from the LA Times. I don't know when was this, on the 24th. It was a couple days ago, from Richard Winton and Haley Smith. They actually said that it wasn't, like you said, obviously it wasn't related to any any influence of alcohol or drugs. It was purely an accident.
Yeah.
Nothing more about that. There's going to be no criminal charges filed against them. It was purely an accident. The only thing that he said was the black box from Wood's SUV. I guess that that determines like the speed at the time of the crash. That would provide investigators with how fast he was driving when he lost control. It was traveling at a greater speed than normal when it crossed the center divider, and everything happened with the injury, with the accident and such. In regards to Tiger, it sucks because the thing is with him, he's had a history of rushing back from injuries. Mm-hmm. He's had the terrible back injuries. He's rushed back from. I think he had a really bad knee injury a couple years ago that he rushed back from. And he always has those setbacks where it's like, all right, he rushes back, he shows he does well, and then it's like it catches up to him. This is serious though. I mean, the fibula and the fibula and tibia are like the two biggest major bones in your leg. I think the tibia is the longest one, if I remember correctly, but those are major injuries. And then you have rods and plates and screws and all types of shit in your feet. So that takes a long time to come back from. Also, with the way he swings, which I'm not the biggest golf fan. Like, I watched it when Tiger was playing because, I mean, come on, black man playing golf, I'm gonna watch it. Like, I don't watch these white folks, but like with Tiger, his swing is very violent. And that leg that I think he hurt is the one that he plants on in regards to getting all his torque and, smacking the ball as hard as he can. So there's that also. So it's like you have to rest for that, for at least to get your power to come back. Because if you don't got your power, what do you don't really got nothing to do unless you go play the senior courses, which obviously that's up to him. But I know him. We know he's a really competitive guy. The guy's literally got through everything, rushes injuries to come back, and he wants to beat Nicklaus's record because I think he's 3 behind. I think Nicklaus has 18, he has 15.
Yeah.
So we know how competitive of a person he is. The only thing is that you have to sit down. I mean, there's no way to rush this. You have to let the recovery go as the recovery goes. I mean, for him, I know he really loves the game. He knows that's all he's known since he was, a toddler. And the guy's 40-something years old. So, I mean, if I were him, and I can't speak on him, obviously, like we said, but I would just chill, let your body recover, and go coach your son. Like, that's the closest thing you're going to get because you're not going to be able to play. You can walk him. You can walk him on, how to play the game and how to be better, and just coach him, to kind of get your love for the game, get that love for the game, that feeling until you're able to actually go back and compete again. Because we don't know what's going to happen. He could recover, and then in 6-7 months, they tell him, yo, you can't play anymore. Yeah. He can't rush through it like the back surgery. Like, he can't, there's that. When it comes to, screws and rods and plates, and considering the age he's in and considering the wear and tear on his body, there's that factor because, that your body eventually breaks down. And this is a serious injury. It's not like this is, a multitude of injuries. Then you have that one injury that breaks down. It's like, all right, yeah, well, it happens. Your body broke down, and even one small injury you're away from. But with him, this is such a serious injury that you have to, you have to chill from that physically. And then mentally, there's, him wanting to keep playing and pushing himself. But meanwhile, it's like, dude, there's that. And then the fact that when you get into a car accident, that shit stays in your head for a while. There's that PTSD. It's that, that you keep playing it back in your head. You're thinking about that as you're, for simple things. If you can't even move the way you move anymore, you think about that car accident. So there's that shock and that, being lucid from all of that. You have to shake that off. Then it comes to, feeling, getting muscle memory again and all that type of stuff. That takes time. This isn't like, okay, yeah, 7 months and you're good. Like there's recoveries, there's the mental recovery, the physical recovery, even an emotional recovery. So it's a lot. I mean, for me, if I were him, I would take no. I would not come back in less than a year. Absolutely not. I mean, you have to just chill. Like I said, just go. Watch the game. Coaches. He should coach his son. Do something to kind of help substitute him playing, and then if he's getting himself back in back in his spirits and he feels ready to play again, then that's fine. But you can't rush this back. I mean, this wasn't a golf related injury. This was a life injury. This is something that you could have lost your life in the span, in 1 quick second. So I think he should just take a break, just chill, get his body right, get his mind right. And then if he wants to play, cool. And if he feels like he can, all right. But don't rush into, that injury. Hold on 1 second, bro. I gotta just light this man bright outside.
Just you said it best. Like he's a competitor. He's one of the greatest ever, just in athletes in general, not even just golfers. Just one of the greatest athletes we ever seen. So individual athletes or just athletes in general. So that's the key point. It's the competitor aspect of it because when you do something for so long, especially if you're great at it, you tend to want to keep doing it because that's all you really know. Outside of that, it's the other things that got in the way of him getting to that point, and then it's also going back to the injuries as well, more so the injuries than anything else. So with him, yeah, you don't want to rush back, but with a competitor, it's kind of hard to tell them just sit down. And I agree with you. At this point right now, he should be teaching his son the game, which it seems like he's doing as well. But when you are the best at what you do, or at some point you were the best for consistent years or even 1 year, you always have this thing in the back of your mind, let me try to go back and get that again. Even if I'm old, let me figure out ways to get it. Now, with modern medicine, he can get to that point where it's like, okay, maybe it's something that he can do for stem cells or anything of that nature. I don't know if he can get the German surgery. The Germany surgery was like
the Kobe surgery.
Yeah. That he got in Greg Oden and a couple other players. I don't know if he can get that done, but I think he'll figure out a way, if it's a way for him to get anything he can or at advantage without it being steroids. Hopefully he doesn't have to use any HGH. But at this point, if it helps you physically, I'm all for that, by the way, when it comes to HGH. I don't care who takes it, man. Just take it. And as long as you're not, killing yourself, if you're not going crazy with it, like, professional wrestlers were at one point and football players, then I have no problem with it. Using HGH. Yeah. So I have no problem with that when you go OD with it. But, we know he'll definitely be back because he won't quit, and that's the type of mindset you have. And then he is chasing that, so to speak, goals. He is chasing Jack Nicholson for 18 championships, and he's trying to go past that. I believe he's trying to go for 4 more if he can.
Right, yeah. Because, 4, he breaks the record. But, man, and at the same time, like, he hasn't really – I can't say he hasn't spent time with his family, but now you have more time to spend with your family to figure out. Catch up with them, just like you got nothing else to do. You can't go play golf. Coach your kid and go see what's going on with your wife and all that stuff. But, I hope prayers up for Tiger. I hope he's all right. Glad he's still here and, he could recover from that. But that shit was crazy. I'm just like, really? Like, we just talk about him on HBO Max and we talk about his documentary and then some shit happens to him again. And I was worried because I'm like, damn, if it's something related to alcohol or drugs, I'm like, oh, fuck, like this guy can't do anything else. Yeah. But fortunately, it was just a very freak accident, but unfortunately, sometimes shit like that happens that has to get your mind right. As much as it sucks, like everybody goes through that one time when they're like, oh, all right, I got to get it together. I need to, lock down and figure out my priorities in life and go forward with that, So Maybe takes his time to think about life after golf too, after playing golf, because he could still do something else in golf in another realm. We know his legacy, we know his influence, his impact. Like that's never going to be diminished, and he's always going to get praised for that. But there's that as well. Bayman praise up the Tiger. In regards to another thing, let's move forward with Russell Wilson, the trade rumors. I think this is bullshit. I think it's just him telling the Seahawks, like, bro, get your shit together. At first they said they demanded the trade. He asked for it, but then Adam Schefter said a little, I think mere hours later, Russell Wilson has not demanded the trade, which his agent Mark Rogers had told ESPN. He told the Seahawks he wants to play in Seattle, but if a trade was considered, the only teams he will go to are the Cowboys, Saints, Raiders, and Bears. I think it's bullshit. I think this is just a blow, and I'm sorry because I know we happen to know a lot of Chicago fans who are Bears fans, like, yo, bring Russell Wilson. I'm like, no,
right.
It's not happening. Unless you trade 3 firsts for him or you give him a nice offer. I don't think they're going to do it. I think this is Russell Wilson or somebody telling the Seahawks, yo, get your shit together. Like, give me an O-line, please. I'm tired of running around all day. Because the Seahawks really just need a good O-line.
That's
and
it.
They don't really go forward with that. So, I just hope, I think it's smoke and mirrors. I don't know what you think, but for me, I think it's over. I think it's just all like it's a warning shot to Seattle. Like, listen, get your shit together, or else, I gotta go somewhere else.
I believe it's true. The reason being is, he hinted at something, not even probably a month ago. It wasn't that long ago when he was just saying like, I could use some help, and that's different than what we know with Russell Wilson. Like, usually he's not saying a lot unless he's with his wife. So for him to say something like that, it was kind of like, okay. And then for this report to come out, it was kind of like, like, again, where is this coming from? Somebody in his camp? Right. Obviously, if it's somebody in his camp, all right, well, that's from his camp, in quotations. So with me, it more so came from, I believe it. Is he trying to demand a trade? No, but maybe he is telling somebody, hey, tell somebody in the Seattle Seahawks organization that I got a championship for, that I'm thinking about leaving. And then these 3, because it's like those 3 teams really, like, not saying like, the Bears aren't bad. The Bears are a quarterback away from going deep into the playoffs. But the fact that it just came out, for the Bears, the Cowboys, and the Saints, it was just like, so why these 3? Like, who starts the rumor with these 3 teams specifically? Then he put out a workout video the same day that it came out, and I believe the caption was something like, along the lines of
some stupid shit like that.
So it's like, fuel. All fuel for what? But that's what I'm saying. So is it all fuel for the Seahawks to get it together, or are you just saying like, oh, okay, somebody put out a fake report, now I'm motivated?
Right.
But you always been motivated. You always done your job for the team, and so for the team now to do the job for them. So now this is why I'm saying like, I think it's true. I believe it, because it seems to be when Deshaun Watson started the I'm out campaign, everybody else is like, well, damn, I want to leave my team as well. It's sort of like when LeBron left in 2010, and then we just had a whole 10, 11 year now fluctuation, so to speak, of that happening, where players just don't want to be somewhere. They're like, all right, I want to leave. And then for him to say that, obviously it's coming from a place of personal need, far as his family and him as well, so because it's like New Orleans, Dallas, and then you got Chicago, these kind of places that my wife could work from or work at around those regions right there. Where Seattle, I can go to LA, but everything sometimes is on the East Coast as well, and you got to take a long flight. But I mean, if I got money, we got jet money too. So I believe this to be true, and I feel like if he does want to leave, like, it's unfortunate. I feel like he should stay there the rest of his career. But at the same time, why not? Like, you got him a championship. You've been professional since you've been there, since you first started. It's nothing else for you to really do. But, if you win another championship, of course, that's always the goal. But, I mean, shit, you won one, and you won one in a time where Aaron Rodgers hasn't won one in literally 10 years. So you won yours a little bit after that, but at the same time, you got one, and they was calling Aaron Rodgers even though he is better than him, they were saying that Aaron Rodgers is like, one of the greatest of all time, which is true as well. But It's been 10 years, and they haven't said anything else about him needing another championship other than the one he got years ago. And then we know for the most part in football, if you can get one championship, hell, that's better than getting none.
I mean, that's a valid point. I think it's both. It could be both. It could be a warning to Seattle, like, listen, if you don't get what's right, I'm leaving. But if you do trade me, all right, this is where I want to go. And I think they'll work with Russ because at the end of the day, Russ has been the consummate professional throughout his whole career. He's never really been a type of person to act out of character or berate the organization. If it was to criticize the organization, it's for rightful things such as, hey, I need an offensive line. Can you get me one? So I mean, he's handled himself well amongst the media, amongst the organizations. Never really much of a bad thing to say about him. I haven't really heard anything personally, but I just think it's just like hey, listen, if this don't work, this is where I want to go. And you put that in their mind, and maybe that puts the oh shit, we don't want to waste the rest of this guy's career. Let's get what we need to get to keep him here. Or if we can't do it, and there's some type of dilemma. All right, listen, we'll do right by him and trade him. But
almost 33 years old as well, so I need somebody to block for me.
Right.
It's only so many times I can run the option.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he's not the biggest quarterback ever, so I can't just rely on my arm all the time.
Right. Can't be running for your life all fucking game either. Like
exactly at 33 years old, because you only could work out for so much before Father Time catches up to you and your body start breaking down, especially when you're taking hits. It's not like he's taking like huge hits, but he's still getting hit.
Yeah, he's getting hit.
Yeah. He's still getting hit, so it don't matter. Right. So in that aspect, I understand. Like if he wants to leave, and it's fine. It just it's so funny to me that Deshaun Watson kind of started all this, like when I was
and still hasn't gotten anything. Not even a rumor. Not even a team.
But you know what's fucking funny? Didn't Carson Wentz leave?
And got a trade into what? 2 weeks? 2 weeks maybe? 14
and I'm
days?
not the smartest person in the world, but I prefer Carson Wentz over. I prefer Deshaun over Carson
Watson
Wentz.
over Carson Wentz.
So it's just like
every day and twice on Sunday, bro.
Look, in 2 days he was like, "Hey, I want out." All right, bet. And they got Carson Wentz
to Indianapolis, right?
So I'm like, what y'all trying to say right now, Lee?
Yeah, the Texans are just the Texans. We know are a horrible organization, and
Absolutely.
they move very weird. So, I mean, there's also a meeting where I think it was Friday. I think Friday. Yeah, Friday. It was Friday. I think it was yesterday or Thursday. I don't remember because like it was Thursday where he had a meeting with the coach and said, "Yo, listen, I'm just letting you know again, I'm not coming back. Like, don't think like I know you had your comments a couple months ago, but I'm done. I'm out of here. Like, I'm sorry, and I'm out of here. I can't do this." And I don't blame him. Like, the coach they hired too was like fucking like yes, he was the passing coach for Lamar Jackson, and like don't get me wrong, Lamar Jackson we know how great Lamar Jackson is, but like that passing game wasn't that good when he was the coach either. So it's like the math, like I say, the math ain't mathing. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make sense. So if you're gonna, I just find it weird that Deshaun, the people who have asked for trades haven't gotten trades yet, but meanwhile, Carson Wentz asked for one and got one in 3 days.
Right. That's so weird to me. I'm like, who do you prefer?
Yeah, like I'm taking Deshaun Watson like I said, I take Deshaun Watson every day and twice on Sunday over Carson Wentz. I'm sorry, like I know people when I've talked about Carson Wentz, it's like, oh, because you're a Giants fan. I'm like, I'm not putting the Giants bias. I'm not putting my Giants NFC East bias as much as I fucking can't stand the Eagles. I'm putting that aside. Like I'm literally just saying that. Listen, I'm just watching this game objectively. I'm taking Deshaun Watson still. Like I don't understand how Carson Wentz, and I understand the whole thing with Frank Reich in Indianapolis, and because Frank Reich fucking enabled him. That's really why he went over there. Right. He's the one who fucking enabled him and helped him and made his head bigger than what it really was. And then the fucking Eagles just acted funny and were letting Carson Wentz run all over the organization when they shouldn't have done that. They should have put their foot down.
Right.
There's that whole. Then that was the whole dilemma with the owner fucking wanting to protect them, and then the GM protect them, and then the coach is like, bro, I can't fucking coach this guy because he don't know how to take criticism because he thinks he's higher than everybody.
Exactly.
You know, but then again, white people being white people, they let him get away with that shit and they traded him. So, but the NFL go NFL. So,
And he in the perfect place to be white too. So,
man, you telling me, right? But man, fuck Carson Wentz. I'm good. Let's see what's going on now. So, we'll talk one more thing before we get into basketball because, like I said, there's a lot that we got to talk about and show your work in regards to the NBA, the WNBA, and such. But let me ask you a question, bro, because you know my answer to this. I'm gonna ask you a question: are nerds ruining sports?
absolutely.
Subjective.
I'm sick of fucking analytics. I don't care about these numbers. I don't care about how many times Eric Gordon.
Oh my god.
It's
I'm
all
listening,
right.
bro.
It don't matter how many times goddamn Eric Gordon shoot a three. I don't care about any of that. I've been tired of analytics since 2000. I want to say 15 or 16 when Daryl Morey and the Rockets organization started putting those numbers out there, or they had editorial pieces or publication people talking about analytics. I still don't understand how it works. Just because if a player dribbles this time or dribbles this way and dribbles this minute. I still don't understand really how it works, but for the most part, from what I've seen with it, if a player dribbles this too many times and shoots this way, or he drives through the lane or whatever the case may be, it's like a 67% percentage he'll make it. And it's just annoying. Like, you literally just watch the game. It just analytics at this point just has people looking at these numbers, looking at the stat line and looking at highlights and like, oh, okay, so this is how it works. And for the most part, a lot of these coaches are going by it and these organizations. I mean, we've seen what's going on now with the so small ball thing and how if you just it's basically if you can outscore the other team, even if you can't play defense, because of course the objective is to outscore the other team. But now it's just like if you could just outscore the other team, not play defense, then you pretty much could just win the game, and that's it. You don't need nothing else to do. So I don't like it. And relates to football, it's kind of along the lines of the same thing in football. It's just you going by stats, you going by your fantasy team, and that's not to knock anybody with fantasy, but it seems like in the past couple of years, fantasy football has become more popular than the game itself. People care more so about what's going to happen with a player so they can win in a fantasy team. And I feel like it doesn't take away from the game, but at the same time, I think in a sense, because these video games are so bad nowadays, people are treating the actual game like it's a video game. Like I think I said like the current NBA is like NBA 2K.
It's like 2K, yeah.
Yeah, it's
which it is in a way, but
commercialized everything that we see with the advertising, etc. Same thing with football as well. So yeah, I'm not big on the whole analytics thing, and that's the main thing with me. As far as everything else the nerds do, I can't really see it. I just feel like you just got to watch the full game, like we said before, man. I hate the fact that not even now. I just hate the fact that people know everything about a particular sport, whether it be boxing, football, basketball, off of just some highlights. They see 3 minutes of it and they try to be like, oh, okay, this is why. No,
right.
Watch the full, stop being lazy, watch 2 hours and 30 minutes, 40 minutes of the game.
Right.
Watch the full game, and as far as like basketball goes, and tell me everything. Well, the 40 minutes is like the advertisement. So watch 2 hours of the game without the advertisements if you can, which you can't. But watch the full games, man, and just go by that. Don't go by what the nerds say. Do your homework, do your research, and watch these players' individual games.
Right. I would agree totally. I think with the fantasy aspect, because I'm in a league myself for basketball, and I don't mind it. Like, it kind of gives you the, some worries. It gives you the chance, like, okay, I'm gonna think about it as a GM. Like, okay, this guy's not playing. Does this guy gonna play enough? Like, there's that, and that's understandable. But when it gets into the extra, like, the other extra analytics that I don't like, bro, it's really about points, rebounds, assists. Like, for example, like for me, I play in a category league. So it's points, rebounds, assists, steals, turnovers, field goal percentage, free throw percentage, which is how like basically a game by game numbers thing, which is why I like it. Cause like, okay, that's basic numbers. Like, I don't like me, I'm a numbers person, but I'm not like, even with baseball, that's why I got turned off by baseball. Cause it's like, bro, I don't fucking care. To be honest with you, I'm not into fucking war and whip and all that. I'm like, so the fuck what, bro? Listen, average home runs, runs, steals, singles, doubles, triples, on base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS. I'm cool with that. When it gets to the other extra stuff, when it's like, oh, this in X amount of innings, it's like, bro, like, okay, you're overthinking the fuck out of this. Can this guy from can game to game be consistent? That's what I think about. It's like, all right, cool. This guy is good with rebounds. I'm gonna take this guy off rebounds. Like, you take it off of what you're supposed to take him off of. Like, there's other things like spreading the floor, and there's all of those other factors in regards to like discussing teams. But some of these numbers, I'm just like, what the? I don't need this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, for example, the Anthony Edwards dunk. You saw that. He fucking put that man, he put that man in the nether room, bro. Yeah, he dunked on him. Dunked the fuck out. It's like, went crazy on him. And the thing was, everybody was reacting to the dunk, including myself. I'm like, he fucking got up on this man. Like, nuts on his neck, bro. Like, yammed it on him. Like, went crazy. But then you got people, but he was shooting 1 for 7. I'm like, bro, we don't care. Right. Can we just react to the moment? Can we react to the fact that this was a crazy dunk? If you want to talk about that like days after the fact or talk about that another time, cool. Like, he shot for shit, but he had a great dunk. Like, just enjoy the fucking dunk. Like, why did it turn into this? Oh, because he was shooting 1 for 7 at the time, so the dunk doesn't count. It shouldn't matter. It's like, bro, like, that was a crazy play.
Right. Like, 2 points.
2 points is 2 points, but the way he made them 2 points is incredible. Like, it was a crazy. It's the dunk of the year to me so far. Yeah. But you have people. Like that. He was shooting 1 for 7, and oh my god, the number 1 overall pick. But what an inefficient shooter. And I'm like, bro, but that doesn't. We're not at that point where we're discussing that. We're just reacting to a play. We're not reacting to the numbers. We're not reacting to his field goal percentage. We're not reacting to rebounds, assists. We're not I don't even think people were reacting to the score at the time. The joke was that he dunked it so fucking hard, they accidentally counted it as 4 points in the game. Like, that's the only thing of numbers-wise we were talking about. Mm-hmm. It didn't even matter when it happened. It could have been the first play of the game or the last play of the game. It still was like, holy shit, Anthony Edwards just got up on this guy from the Raptors and dunked it on him. Right. But people try to take shit out of context and make it bigger than what it is when it's like, dude, it's just a really big play that everybody wanted to react to. Mm-hmm. But it's the same with everything. It's shit. That's why baseball is where it's at, because it's not even just about like, yo, this guy's hitting fucking 300 and he could field his ass off and he plays both. He can hit and play the field really well. It turned into, we're just gonna throw all these numbers and talk about why he's good. Why is he good? Look at all these numbers. Like, there is the eye test, but there's also just you have to watch shit. Like, these people, these fucking MIT, like, in all due respect, I'm not disrespecting people who are nerds, because I call myself a nerd, but I'm a subjective one. I'm the type of person who can objectively look at numbers, but then also think about like, okay, this is great to watch. Like, I can watch something and take it for what it is at face value, but also put in the numbers and have that balance. A lot of these dudes just care about the numbers and don't care about like how great something looks or what it is, or distinguish if something looks great or is it bad. Like, there's no distinguishing anything. It's just like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna just crunch numbers and put this out there, and then 20 other fucking people are gonna tweet it, and then it turns into this whole thing where we're talking about something that doesn't even have involved numbers. Mm-hmm. Yet we're gonna bring numbers and analytics into just a great highlight dunk. Like, we're simplifying. We're making something that's so simple so fucking complicated, and that's why some sports are going the way they are. Like, the analytics shit is starting to bleed into the NBA a little bit, And I'm not, and we could get into that, because it's even like we're gonna get into the All-Star game next, and I'm gonna transition into that. But it's like, I'm gonna explain that later, like how these guys who fucking created the plus minus are talking about how All-Stars are getting snubbed and shit, and it's like, bro, are you watching the games? Are you looking at their record? Like, you want to bring this per 36 minutes and per this and per that. But
see, that's why Luka started.
But Luka got the votes. But the thing is, it's off highlights. If you're going to pick me, I'm picking Dame over Luka.
Yeah, of course. Well, anybody that actually has common sense, we know we're going to pick Dame over that just based on the record. Because right now, I think the Mavs like the 10th, 11th seed. Whereas the Trailblazers like the 10th, 11th seed.
I'm going to check it right now, actually.
The 4th or the 5th seed. It used to be when we was coming up, or hell, let's say even probably 5 years ago, it used to be just if you play good, you start in the All-Star game. If you got a good record, you played in the All-Star game. Now it's just like if you're popular, you play in the All-Star game, you start. And that's why the front court is the way it is right now, and they don't have any need for centers, which gets to our all-star sub. Because I still have the mindset, even when I don't play 2K because it's trash, but I still have the mindset of a front court, having a big man. I still had that mindset, the power forward, being the power forward. But the game has changed in that way as well.
Right.
So him getting 28 points on the press meet for him to start when Dame is getting like 29, 28 points. They're getting about the same point margin, and yet Luka still starts over him, and they're not even in playoffs.
Right. Which, I mean, we could transition into the All-Star game reserves, but in one sense with Luka and Dame is that, of course, Luka has a whole fucking continent behind him, so I'm not surprised about that. Because you got to remember, Derrick Rose was 10th in point guard, and meanwhile, he has decent numbers, but it's not all-star numbers. But obviously, like I've told people, China is the reason why Derrick Rose has 11 sneakers right now. Like they still, there was the T-Mac, like T-Mac got the China stimulus. Yao Ming obviously had the China stimulus. Like there are certain players that have that. Luka has it in Europe, but a lot of people were saying like, bro, why isn't Dame not starting? And yes, the starters are the fan votes, but Dame, I would have picked Dame over Luka personally. I mean, the Dallas Mavericks right now they're ninth right now, but at the time they were 10th or 11th. They are starting to play well now, but
they just figured out like everybody else, just outscore somebody. They can't play no damn defense.
They're horrible on defense.
The Knicks won the trade, so we got to do that. I think every time we talk about Kristaps, but right now he can get you 19 points, but not consistent.
I don't like saying it, but I'm gonna say it, the Knicks. And the thing is now even with him, now there's these trade rumors coming about. And there are rumors from certain insider sources that are saying, like, his brothers were difficult to deal with, which hence that's what happened with the Knicks conversation. The Knicks were saying his brothers were annoying to deal with.
Also, he got washed up overseas because of his
brother. Smacked up in a club in Latvia because of his brother. Yeah. I mean, listen, Kristaps is a talent, but the guy gets hurt, and he's, maybe he's a simple person to deal with, but the people around him, they're difficult to deal with. Teams don't want to deal with that shit anymore. That's why they say you trade for him for 1 year, and after the year, it's like, I don't want this guy anymore. But there's that as well. And we'll get into the All-Star reserves now, actually, because I had them popped up. And then obviously there were updates in regards to that. So let's see. I just had them up. All right. So in regards to the All-Star reserves, this has been reported by everybody. This is common news, but the West reserves were Chris Paul, Paul George, Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, Zion Williamson, and Anthony Davis. Obviously, with the West, if you want to go into the West first, we'll talk about that. I mean, we know who got snubbed. It's Devin Booker. I don't know why Chris Paul got in. I hate being that guy, but I would have taken Chris. Do you think Chris Paul should have got in?
If I got to choose him over Devin Booker, no. I'm choosing Devin Booker, who's now in because AD is hurt.
AD got hurt, yeah. So he's the injury replacement.
Yeah, this is second year in a row for that, if I'm not mistaken.
Bro, Devin Booker is Shane Falco.
Now the thing is, I know he's definitely the on-call all-star. You know what I mean? When your RN is out, you call him at 3 a.m. and he comes.
He the replacement girl Drake and Trey Songz was talking about.
Yeah, he definitely is the 07 one. Nah, that's before his time too. Damn, that's what I'm talking. You know what's crazy though?
What?
He would probably be preferred to be on the beach somewhere overseas. Well, they don't really have a break because it's gonna be right back.
They can only travel in the U.S. supposedly.
But the drive from or the flight from Phoenix to LA ain't that bad because he prefer to be in Calabasas with the tall white girl. What's her name? Kendall.
Kendall Jenner. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where he prefer to be at right now.
Yeah. So I mean, I would agree. I think Booker was the snub, but he obviously got in. He's Shane Falco of the All-Star game, so he was replaced. Anthony Davis was the injury replacement, and then Devin Booker replaced him. So we agreed on that, which is pretty simple. But I think they got it right.
Who would you choose over Chris Paul? That's what I'm saying. If we had to take another guard. Because I said Chris Paul shouldn't have made it anyway. I was like, yeah, because they got.
What I'm taking over Chris Paul.
And I'm one of the very few Chris Paul fans that seems to be on.
I know it. Yeah, you're a Chris Paul fan. I know.
I don't understand where this hate comes from.
Because he's just an asshole.
Well, that's how you're supposed to be, right? When you 5'9".
So what you're trying to say is Chris Paul has an Napoleon complex?
He's 5'9". Yeah, of course he's gonna have that.
I
don't hit people below the belt, but get it how you live it.
I guess that's why DeMarcus Cousins wanted to take his head off a couple years ago. Let's try to see. Who would I replace for Chris Paul?
Oh, De'Aaron?
Yeah.
But let me see De'Aaron's point average right now. It's got to be 21.
Yeah, I think he's averaging 23, I think. But you see, then there's the thing with the record. De'Aaron, their record isn't that good. I think Sacramento right now is 13 and 20.
It's the Kings.
It's the Kings.
The Kings, if they get 13 games, this is a record.
Free De'Aaron Fox. Free De'Aaron Fox. Then
he get the max.
He did get a max. I think he got the max. He has a max for Sacramento. There's that. I mean, also.
But the thing is, so we speaking about record, but then Zion started. I mean, he's not starting, but he's on the team.
Well, at the time, I think they were the 8th or 9th seed. Well, they're in the playoffs technically because of the play-in. Let me see. Yeah, they were tied because Memphis. The reason why Memphis is up on New Orleans because Memphis played less games. But Zion was going to get in anyway. He's played really well. And I don't think BI was going to get in either. Ingram. It was going to be him or Zion. If their record was better, they both might have gone in. But I would have chose Ingram over Chris Paul. That's just me. I'm trying to think who else. Really Ingram. It's really Ingram or De'Aaron Fox or actually, how is Shea doing? Shea Gilgeous-Alexander doing? That's a good question. I had his numbers up. 19. But he's averaging 23.6 points per game and 6.3 assists. But their record is the same as the Kings. So it's like, all right, well, yeah. So if it was Chris Paul, I would have taken BI or De'Aaron Fox or SGA. But I get it. NBA, he's a president of the Players Association. He wore HBCU hoodies for a year and a half. He's been customizing his shoes, and the Suns have a good record. So
and he's the ball spot king.
You say he the what?
Ball spot king.
That too. So
look, he better get that. He better get that stuff I'm about to get. He trying to copy my whole flow. I forgot what's his name on Instagram. I'm about to buy this shit, bro. I'm gonna get my hair back.
Oh, you trying to get the hair plugs?
It's some shit you put in your hair to help it grow. I'm about to come back like yours in about a couple months.
Oh man,
I had an Eddie Terrell '98 look.
The mullet.
Give me a couple months. I'm gonna come back.
You'll come back. I'm like, damn, bro, you a whole different. You come.
Give me the stem cells so I get my hairline back. Damn it! Don't get Tiger now.
Yeah. Don't give Tiger. Nah, he got the platelets. The stem cells is you, bro. Tell him to cut that check. Playlist is like for blood.
How that work?
Is
it the German surgeon?
That's the German. Yes, the Kobe.
Oh, okay. That's what I was trying to make sure. I was like, that's the German surgery,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. The playlist is the Kobe Rey Mysterio surgery. That's the Germany surgery. Yeah.
That shit sounds
definitely. Scary. Yeah, that shit is scary, bro. But hey, listen, Kobe got an extra fucking 10 years thanks to that shit. So. But so let's go to the East. The reserves for the East are James Harden, Julius Randle, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Zach LaVine, Ben Simmons, and Nikola Vucevic. Vucevic got in again. In regards to the starters, what'd you say?
He's slipping in there. Vucevic should be slipping in there.
At first, I thought Sabonis should have gotten in. That's my yeah. I thought Sabonis should have been in over Vucevic, and if somebody got hurt, Vucci Mane was gonna be the replacement. That's what I call him. But obviously, we know now KD has had the hamstring injury, and as a precaution, the Nets are going to sit him out till after the All-Star break. So as a result of that, Sabonis Sabonis got picked. Sabonis was picked as a reserve, as a replacement, and then Jason Tatum is going to take Kevin Durant's spot in the starting lineup. So that's how they discussed
He
that.
shouldn't have to get 9 points last night.
I mean, he did play like shit.
Like, bro, 9 points? That's ridiculous.
Right. Should anybody have been sung from this? Is there anybody that should be here that is not here?
In the East? No, I think they actually got it right in the East. You know, up into the Sabonis, I was like, nah. That was the only snub I would have saw, but otherwise than that.
I'm surprised Trae Young ain't get in.
Oh, yeah, I'm tripping. Trae Young should be over Ben Simmons.
The politics, and then, you know, shout out to my guys on the clubhouse and We Are Sports, because one of them was saying it's pretty crazy how Trae is the top 10 in scoring and second in assists, and he's not in the All-Star game.
I didn't even think about that because he should be over Ben Simmons.
I would say that, but if you say Ben Simmons,
I know they're number one in the East, but come on,
they're number one in the East, so he's gonna get the spot. But with Trae Young, you know why this happened?
Steve Nash. Put him over Kyrie.
Fucking Steve Nash, bro. Steve Nash is the reason why Trae Young isn't in this All-Star game. Because after Steve Nash said that shit about him, he said that shit Trae Young be doing for fouls is not basketball. People were looking at Trae Young a little different after. They were like, "Oh shit, you're right." Because he be doing some weird shit, and then they were playing. It was the game they put against the Knicks. Because the Knicks were up in that game, they were up 15. Then like Atlanta went up 10, and then in the fourth quarter, the Hawks, like they've been doing all season, shit the bed and lost. And I'm watching that because I've watched Hawks games and like, okay, fine. But I guess maybe with the Knicks lens, I kind of watched it a little bit more closer. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, bro, this motherfucker be doing some wild shit to get fouls. Like, you thought Harden was bad. Like, this motherfucker be twerking on defenders to get calls. Like, he'll run in front of them, literally stop and wait for the defender to hit him, and then he throws the ball up and he gets the call all the time. And it's obvious. It's like, you know, if you sell it, it's like, you know, me, I'm gonna be like, you know what, you sold it, but in a rep size, it looks legit. But some of them calls, I'm like, this motherfucker really like wait. He would wait. There was one play, I forgot who is it that fouled him. I think it was either Quickly or no, I don't think it was Quickly. It might have been Quickly or it might have been Alfred Payton. It was one of the point guards. But I remember he literally, like, he was already past them. Like, he could have went up, threw a floater, and went up. He waited a good second for that guy to, you know, to, like, kind of be, like, you know, right there with him, and then he throws the ball and gets the foul. And I'm like, damn. I see why they turned on him. Because then he started doing that. Then he did the hissy fit with the refs. Like, he's just been acting really weird. And then people have been looking at the Hawks a lot with a lot more critical eye than they have the last couple of years, especially now with the team they have. You know, obviously with them blowing games in the fourth quarter, there's that too. Like, there's a weird – the Hawks are getting looked at a little bit more sternly than a lot of other teams are. So, I think that's what happened. But I think the Steve Nash comments have set that – that was a narrative and a motive, obviously, because that's what the media is driven by, and especially these votes. That narrative and that motive, that fucking snowball after that Steve Nash comments. I think really that's why he's on the All-Star game. Like, he has to blame Steve Nash for that one.
It's probably that more so, but then it might be just everybody's looking at, you know, the winning record once again. But even though they in the playoffs, though, if I'm not mistaken, they 7th in the playoffs right now. And then you would think, like you said, the politics involved with Trae Young, he would have made the team. And then I think right now he's averaging like 25, even though last year he's averaging 28, which is still very good. You know, he reminds me of, you know, he's reached heights physically and metaphorically that Muggsy Bogues couldn't go. The only thing is he just don't play no defense.
He does not.
You know, but, you know, they kind of score in the same sense, even though Trae Young is I would say a better shooter because he only has a couple inches above, you know, Muggsy Bogues. But with him, it's like I had a conversation last night with somebody about Dame. They said Dame does that whole let me try to get fouled thing. I said, bro, y'all need to blame Paul Pierce for that and Reggie Miller for the shooters getting fouled, jumping in. Yeah, going underneath people. That's all from them. So
Harden does it too. The hooking of the arm.
Yeah, get mad at them. And I don't really have a problem with that, bro. It's like the best thing you could do is move your body a little bit more and try to play better defense. But even then, good defense is still get you in foul trouble because that's their game plan. So
And
I don't know.
better offense always beats good defense. So there's that
Exactly.
too.
So they crafty scores. So I understand what people mean by that. But yeah, I didn't even think about that because Trey Songz. I'm tripping. Trey Young is Trey Songz. It's Tremaine. That might be the name of the episode too. Trey Songz is Tremaine. Trey Young is probably my favorite guard in the East right now.
Right.
Yeah, he's probably my favorite guard in the East right now. Like I like his style of play, honestly. And then
he's averaging 26.8 points a game, 4.1 rebounds, 9.5 assists. So he's third in the league in assists and 11th in points scored. Their record is. I just had the record. Damn it. Their record. The Hawks are right now 9-10. They're 11th, so they're right out of the. They're a game and a half out of the play-in. They're 14-19. And
I know Rondo's been hurt because I'm like, bro, they should be higher than that.
Yeah, they're 11. They're 11th to 12, and then that's their record right now. I mean, in the top, right now the Bulls are 9th. Right now it's Philly, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Toronto, which you expect. Miami's now the 5th seed because between the 5th seed and the 10th seed is a game in the East.
Because we were just like the 5th seed, if not the 5th seed. Yeah, the Bulls.
The 5th seed.
Yesterday.
Then Miami won, and now the Knicks, Philadelphia. Okay, 5, 6, and 7 all have the same record. So Miami, New York, and Boston are 5, 6, and 7. The records are all the same. They're both all 16 and 17, and then Indiana right now is the 8th seed. So, we're recording this on a Saturday. The Knicks play tonight, so the Knicks win this game. The Knicks could jump to 4th if the Knicks will fuck around and jump to 4th. Oh, actually, no, not 4th. I'm sorry. Actually, yeah, the Knicks jumped to 4th because Toronto's 17 and 17 right now, which is fucking wild because we're used to okay, after seed 4, 5 to 8, 5 to 10 is just fucking is shit.
Right.
And now there are a lot, like literally the 5th seed to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 5th seed to the play-in, which is Charlotte and Chicago have the same record. They're both 15 and 17. They're the 9th and 10th seeds. It's a half game right now.
It's a lot of losing records.
Even from the 4th seed to the 10th seed is a game difference. It's 5.5 versus 6.5 of being back in first place. So that's a game difference. So like that, it's just like the way these records are. A lot of these records are similar. Like the second half is going to be interesting, because I think if you go on a 2-3 game winning streak, you fuck around and be in 12th, right. And that goes for the West too. We know the West is like that every year, but the thing is, a lot of people, and this is why I say about white people controlling narratives in media, is that people are saying the East is weak, and I'm like, bro, do you see the East record right now?
This is the best the East has been in years.
The East is crazy. The East. Yes, the Nets have the 3 stars, but even if you take away that, like, there are a lot of young teams that are damn near in the playoffs. Charlotte's fighting for a playoff spot. People would think, oh yeah, Charlotte gonna fucking finish second, dead last in the conference. Mind you, Charlotte's fighting for a playoff spot. The Bulls are fighting for a playoff spot. Mm-hmm. Indiana's a young team. Yeah, Indiana does have solid and has had some type of stability the last couple of years. Obviously, it's with new people now. Indiana, the Knicks are a fucking playoff team right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been happy if the Knicks finished 500 this year. I would have been like, yo, fuck it. That's a victory to me. Considering we're rebuilding, bro. We're not getting a fucking free agent for 3 to 5 years. I can live with this. But the Knicks are in the playoffs, and then I know like I said, I'm a passionate Knicks fan, but I'm a realist because a lot of these dudes are going with the and I'm like, yo, just fucking enjoy it. Just shut up. Right. The less people talk about the Knicks, the better the Knicks do. Which I'm okay with because people just like to say the Knicks just to get clickbait and to get all those comments and bro, you guys sucked the last 20 years. Bro, I'm not even paying attention to that. I'm looking at the 2020, 2021 season. We have a fucking all-star who deserved it actually. Who, if he got snubbed, I would have legitimately been mad, not as a Knicks fan, but look at Julius Randle's numbers. So for me, Julius Randle and Zach LaVine, out of all the All-Stars, those are the two I'm the happiest for. I feel like they both deserved it. And that's not because I'm a Knicks fan, you're a Bulls fan. That's just off the fact that these guys are putting up numbers. This is Zach LaVine's, I think, easily most efficient year. As out of field goal percentage and and free throw.
Everything.
Sorry, my dog want to go scratch herself back there. Field goal percentage and all that other shit. Like Zach LaVine, this is Zach LaVine's most efficient year, and this is Julius Randle's most efficient year. And look at the efficiency they have. Look at how efficient they have, and look how that's translated. Like this is numbers you talk about. Efficiency translates into wins and losses. You're not efficient, you lose. You're efficient, you win. And look at their records. Their records reflect that. Meanwhile, Trae Young is 11th in points per game and 3rd in assists, but look at where his record is. Even though he got in last year, but it's like, yeah, we'll give you that pass. But hey, if the Hawks were in the playoffs, Trae Young would have gotten in. Right. If they were in that 5 to 8 seed, but they're not. So there's also that as well. But this is the thing. Because now, I don't know. I think I sent you this tweet about the Heat. Did I send you a tweet about the guy from Basketball Talk saying, like, how come Bam and Jimmy aren't in the All-Star game?
Yeah, you sent me that last night.
Bro, what? No. Like, then you see, it turns into that. Listen, when it comes to reserves, these people are like, oh, put the roster to 15. No, bro, not everybody could fucking go. Like, we need to stop giving out participation trophies. You can cite somebody's numbers, and we can talk about how great they are. If they didn't win, and that's it. Applaud the player for their numbers, but keep it moving. Like, I'm not putting Bam and Jimmy Butler in a fucking All-Star game. Why? Because they made the finals last year? No.
Right. They had a losing record for like
they have a fucking losing record. They still have a losing record. They're finally starting to play well. Jimmy Butler has played what? Jimmy Butler hasn't really played that much this year. Right. And Bam has put up numbers, but they're not Julius Randle. I'm not taking Bam Adebayo of Julius Randle. I'm not taking him over fucking Domantas Sabonis, who should have been in the first place. I'm not taking him over Vucevic, even though, granted, Vucevic, they played well to start, but they've been playing like shit lately. That's why they're 13-20 now. I'm not taking him over anybody.
The Magic make it into the playoffs, man.
That's the thing.
How does that happen?
They're always in the playoffs somehow, some way. Like, they always seem to be off the radar, but are always, and then the thing
the Magic is, that's the thing. They be on TV.
And the thing too is that even if they're the 7th or the 8th seed, whoever the 1 or 2 seed is always gets a fucking series from them, even if it's a 4-game series. Like the Bucks swept. Like there was that year I think it was last year, the year before, where the Bucks swept the Magic, but it was not an easy sweep. I think there was maybe one game. I think it was the last game that they fell apart in one quarter, and that's why the score showed what it showed. But every game, the Magic were giving, even though the Magic lost, didn't win a game, the Magic were giving them hard for 48 minutes. So they're a stable team that always gets in. They're a hard coach team. We know about Steve Clifford. He did okay with Charlotte with Kemba. He was a Knicks assistant for a while too. Had Ewing and his staff. So he's a good coach. They're always a team that just happens to be in the playoffs because of how hard they play. They don't have a flashy style. Like, I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not the biggest fan of watching the Magic play because they're not the flashiest team out there, but they play hard and they're always fighting for a playoff spot.
Right.
But that's the thing. You can't, with the fucking media's been smoking dust, especially since the coronavirus. Like, we've been talking about, how is Jimmy and Bam getting in? Bro, they're not. Jimmy has barely played. And the whole fucking, and I hate to say this because I don't like to discredit Jimmy Butler because I think he's a great player. But like Jimmy Butler is not fucking LeBron James. He's not none of those guys on the reserves. I'm taking all those guys over Jimmy Butler any day. Even Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Even though, yes, their record isn't that good either. And that's because they slid into that after they've been sliding into that even before the All-Star game was announced. And the Celtics really need somebody, but Danny Ainge wanted to dangle them picks like Bitcoin. And that's why they were at with that. But that's another discussion for another day. But it's like the Heat, and I've said this every fucking time, bro. The Heat were extreme benefactors of they were the benefactors of extreme circumstances. This wasn't a fix on the league. Something happened that was bigger than basketball, and a team obviously there's people who benefit from that, and there's people who lose from that. The Heat benefited from that. They played as a team. They had a very team-minded, they have a very team-minded, mind state. their culture is like that. That culture is gonna help you in a gym when there's no fucking fans.
Right.
The Lakers benefited from that. Anthony Davis, because people are trying to, people are overreacting to this Anthony Davis injury, which is crazy to me because I'm like, bro, they're not going to win anything without him because the Lakers still need a fucking rebounder. But Anthony Davis benefited. You know why? Because fucking they missed the season stopped for 4 months. They give you 4 months to rest up. And with Anthony Davis, people are like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, bro, did you not watch him when he was playing in New Orleans? The guy had, and I'm not knocking Anthony Davis because regardless of those injuries, Anthony Davis was putting up the numbers. But he gets all these ticky-tack injuries. It'll be a wrist injury where he's out for a week. Then it's a sprained ankle, he's out for 3 games. Then he's resting for 1 game.
As soon as he get hit, he explodes.
And, bro, he's fucking built like this fucking napkin. Like, and then
as soon as you touch him, he'd be grimacing in pain.
And then in February, bro, and then that's the thing. He's taking all these nasty falls. And people are like concerned. And I'm like, this happens every year. And then come January and February, right on fucking cue, he has his Achilles he has the tendinosis in his Achilles. Is diagnosed as a calf strain. It's really a calf strain with a precaution to the Achilles because Kevin Durant, the same thing happened to Kevin Durant. They rushed him back and look exactly what happened. Even though Durant didn't really have a crate. Well, I mean, he did. He doesn't get that many injuries, but when he does, they take some time out. Like he had the foot injury, the Jones fracture, and all that other stuff. But in AD's case, this happens every year. He gets knick-knacked, he takes ugly falls, and then January, February come, he has one injury that keeps him out for a while, which is exactly what's happening now. So I say all that to come back to the Heat. Bro, the Heat were extreme benefactors of circumstance. This was the 99 Knicks. This is the 1999 Knicks with nerds who love them. This is what the fuck this is, with analytics included into it. Because I'm not picking Bam Adebayo or Jimmy Butler over any of those. That's what I said. They were trying to say, like, yo, Julius Randle should have made the All-Star game. I'm like, and I'm taking the Knicks bias away from this. So if you're listening to this, the Knicks fandom in me is out the window. But a team who play like shit, and Julius Randle, who wasn't the most efficient guy, who is now the most efficient guy, and leads the team in all 3 categories. I'll even get it. He may not lead them in assists. But let's get into the stats for Julius Randle. He actually does. Would you look at that? Julius Randle, 23 points, 2 points a game, 11 rebounds per game, 5.5 assists. The motherfucker's averaging 20, 10, and 5. He don't deserve all. He just has to get snubbed because Bam Adebayo and them, they deserve respect because they made the final last year. But that was last year.
Right.
What the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's the problem. Like, and I hate the fact that, like, you make the finals, you lost. Okay, it's great you made the finals, but you're not showing that you deserve to come back. So we deserve to give you a fucking participation trophy by putting you in the All-Star game the next year? No. Fuck out of here. If the Heat were the top 3-4 seed, I would understand it. But still, with their numbers and the fact that they're fighting for a spot now, their numbers still don't compare to a Julius Randle or a Zach LaVine or even a Tatum or Brown or anybody. So this fucking media thing of like, oh, we snubbing guys and all these guys who create analytics talking about, oh, Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler should be in because of 1, 2, 3, 4. No, they don't deserve to be in. That's it. They made the finals last year. This is this year. Coronavirus fucked them up. They're still playing like shit even with that. They're not that good. They're not that good as they were last year. They should have traded the white boys for another player and they didn't do that. That's their fucking fault. Like this adoration for the Heat, and I know it's gonna be a you a Knicks fan or what. No, it's just, bro, you made the finals last year. That's it. Right. Like your team's playing like shit. You don't deserve to get in the All-Star game. Not everybody could go.
Right, exactly.
I mean, so my fault. I cut a promo, but I had to, bro. Because
no. And it's just based on exactly what happened last year when they made the All-Star team because the team was winning at that point. You know what I mean? And then that's really not much else for me to say about that. It's just, they played bad at the beginning of the season. Jimmy Butler was hurt. I mean, Bam is playing, since he got his contract, he's playing well. I think his point average went up, but I think he's still about the same with rebounds. And I know at some point they were saying that he has potential to be Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know what the scale is right now or the rankings for that particular award right now, but because hell, they don't even know the MVP because at first we thought it was with KD was going to win MVP when he came back was
Yeah.
averaging 28. Now
No,
he's
it's
hurt.
Embiid.
Yes, Embiid and LeBron. I keep hearing that name, but it's always going to be LeBron. But more so, I
Yeah,
keep
LeBron's
hearing.
gonna be another.
Yeah, so more so, I think it's going to Embiid. But yeah, that's you're right. I don't really have anything else to say about it. About the replacements. I think it's good replacements. I feel like Trey Young should have made it. So, and I didn't even think about that because he did get snubbed, and I'm being unbiased because he is, like I said, in the East, my favorite point guard.
Right. But yeah, man. So, yeah, stop. Listen, man. They ain't deserve to make it. They ain't deserve to make it. And they should just leave it at that. But
they'll have a chance, especially Bam, because he only like 24, 25,
yeah,
somewhere
okay,
around
they
there.
one year. Like this ain't. Listen, this isn't his year. This is other people's year. That's just what it is.
Right.
Like everybody, they
Yes,
got. It would. The thing is too is both conferences as it's really. It just shows how crazy things have been since the pandemic has hit. Like the brand of basketball, yes, some of the games get very 2K-ish, which you're right about, and like that's kind of been a opinion of many fans who have actually watched the games, who own NBA League Pass or go on crack streams and watch games. Well, my bad, I shouldn't have snitched, but whatever. Go on streams and watch games.
Hey, we good.
Man, fuck that shit, man.
We good. We managed the IP over here.
It's all right, man. They'll make another fucking stream site in an hour after that shit goes down. That's how they do, but you can't stop the piracy.
Exactly.
But the thing is, like, this is such a competitive, like, this is probably one of the more competitive All-Star where it wasn't even just a superstar thing, where it's like there are a lot of fucking guys who are playing really fucking well. There wasn't a oh my god, this person should have never got in and this person should have been in. Like a lot of this was just like the numbers are similar, but damn, like it wasn't like there was an obvious drop. The only one really that everybody kind of discussed was Chris Paul, but I get it. But the Sabonis Vucevic one, it's interesting because their numbers are similar. I was elated that I'm like, I was waiting for somebody to say Julius Randle doesn't deserve to get in. And I'm not saying that as a Knicks fan, but seeing that it was Heat, that fucking the media wanted to paint the Heat because we want to give them participation trophies. I was like, whatever. But I was waiting for people to say, yo, Randall's not going to get in. Yeah. And, because as a joke, like I'm a Knicks fan, so I get the butt of all the jokes, even though I don't really talk about the less I talk about the Knicks, the less I get annoyed about it and the more I can enjoy games because people just like to throw shit at Knicks fans for nothing. And like and I like to say I hate talking Knicks basketball. Not that I hate it. I tend to dislike talking basketball with Knicks fans as a fellow Knicks fan, but that's just because a lot of them, like I say, their passion goes into delirium and delirium and deliriousness. Yeah. But I was glad that people were like, "Yo, this person deserves to get in." Like it wasn't really there wasn't really oh, this person should never have been picked. Like what? Why? Like it was none of that. All the a lot of these guys who were dropping numbers this year were actually dropping numbers. So that's what I liked about. That's why I like about this All-Star game, even though this should be one, and we discussed that a couple weeks ago. But to see these guys get, to see the guys who aren't in the hot markets, or to see guys who are just making or turning their teams around and teams are playing better, getting recognized for that, like that's really what matters. So I'm glad about that.
And it's just an exhibition game, you know what I mean? So
right.
It's just something else to add to their resume. And like you said, they always get a turn. Like Trey Young is only like 23 years old.
So. Yeah, he's gonna get into one, man.
Yeah,
this is just happened to be guys like Julius Randle's year and Zach LaVine's year and Sabonis's year. Even though Sabonis got in as an injury replacement, but Sabonis's year, like it was that type of year where there's so many good players that hey, listen, not everybody could go. You feel me? It's like a field trip. But moving forward, Kyrie Irving, I don't know if you heard about this, that he says Kobe Bryant should be the NBA logo. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm indifferent about it. I feel like we're talking about this a lot because Kobe passed away. Yeah. Now, I love Kobe Bryant. Loved him. We practically, I say like, for our age group, we're around the same age group. We practically grew up with the guy. Yeah. And I feel like unfortunately he passed away and, we want to give him everything that he deserves. We know his impact legacy influence is not going to go away anytime soon. It's in the younger guys now. He's gonna get all his flowers. He already has, like, literally his passing was so great that they didn't even make him wait the 5 years in the Hall of Fame. They said, "Yo, nah, we're gonna break the rule. We're gonna amend the rule for Kobe. Kobe's coming in, going in next year, unanimous, no matter what. Even though he was gonna get in regardless, it don't even fucking matter.
Yeah,
he was gonna get it
this
regardless.
year.
He would have been unanimous anyway. But to me, I feel, I understand where Kyrie's saying that it was built off the legacy of Black Kings and his comments. I agree with that.
And everybody, he said it exactly that way. He said Black Kings.
Right, which listen, I'm not disagreeing with Kyrie at all. Do I feel like people are reacting to this way because out of all the people who said this, it happened to be Kyrie Irving, who we know can be a little weird and go a little off the, go a little off the deep end when it comes to stuff. Of course, that, I knew that was going to happen. For me, though, I'm very indifferent about it because, like, with the Jerry West thing, a lot of people, and, when I was on Clubhouse yesterday and they were discussing this, a lot of people saying, "Oh, but why is Jerry West the logo? Oh, Jerry West, that was the old back then. Like, we need to change with the old and the new and unite people and all that." But I'm like, the thing is, there's articles about this that I cited. Like, there's one about the LA Times that was written, like, I think like 10 years ago about Jerry West and the logo and the origins behind it. And Jerry West said, I wasn't even consulted for that shit.
Right.
Literally in 1969. Well, I'm going to get into a history lesson. So I'm sorry if I'm coming off long-winded, but in 1969, the commissioner at the time was J. Walter Kennedy. And the thing was the MLB, the Major League Baseball logo, obviously on the back of fitteds, and, we know what the baseball logo looks like. The same thing happened now. Everybody says that Jerry West is the logo happened with Major League Baseball before that. Because in 1969, it was created in 1968. And then in 1969, that's when they started putting it on the uniforms and, all the, for the umpires, players and everything. There was no MLB logo on the back of hats before then. Mm-hmm. So that logo at the time, there was a rumor that came out that the logo was designed, that the person that it was supposed to be was Harmon Killebrew, Hall of Famer first baseman for the Minnesota Twins. But that wasn't true. They actually just based it off of a lot of different silhouettes of players, how players looked, when they had the bat in their hand or whatever, and it was meant to be a sign of ambiguity, where it was, okay, this logo is meant to show whether a batter, somebody's batting left-handed, right-handed, switch-handed, any race, no matter what the race, no matter what color, creed they come from, this is meant to be as a sign of ambiguity. It was designed by a guy by name, I think the guy's name was Jerry Dior, I think his last name was Dior, I forgot his first name, but actually, let me cite that right now. But yeah, it was by a guy named, I think it was Jerry Dior was the guy's name. And it was meant to be a sign of ambiguity. So in regards to the NBA, Jerry Dior was the guy who created it in 1968. And that's what it was meant to be for ambiguity. And in regards to the popularity and influence, it's been incorporated. It was incorporated in the NBA. The guy who oversaw the logo was a guy named Alan Siegel. Basically, the NBA logo was based off the MLB logo from a year before. And the thing was, the commissioner at the time, who was J. Walter Kennedy of the NBA, wanted a family relationship between the sports being seen as like an all-American, ambiguous type of thing. Now, granted, Jerry West was not ever considered for this. Like, Jerry West didn't know he was the logo, so they were like, yo, this is the logo. And he's like, wait, what? What the fuck? And the thing was, they looked at the time in the 69, 70, like, Jerry West was one of, if not the best player in the league. He was a top 3, top 5 player in the league at the time. He was one of the players that they wanted to market with. Right. But they based the silhouette off of different players, and that silhouette of Jerry West just happened to be the one they chose. But it wasn't to be for Jerry West to be the logo. Jerry West has kind of had resentment toward that. Like, bro, I'm not the logo. They just looked at silhouettes of different players and decided, okay, it just happened to be the one that fit, and it was meant to be something. It was supposed to be a sign of ambiguity amongst all different players from all different races and all different creeds, colors, and countries. That's what this is meant to be. Right. So in Kyrie's sense, I understand the logo thing. I understand it's a very sentimental thing. But at the same time, it's like if you're gonna change the logo, if you're gonna do it, it would be Jordan. The thing with Jordan is that shit is a brand now. That shit's on jerseys. If you want to do it with Kobe, I was saying if you're gonna do it with Kobe, obviously Vanessa is still grieving. So I feel like you have to leave this shit alone. And I know it's a very touchy subject because it's Kobe. He's one of the top 5, greatest players of all time amongst many people. Some people consider him the greatest. That's another thing for another day. Right. He's an extension of Mike. To me, he's an extension of Michael Jordan. He's cut from that cloth, and I respect that. And I love Kobe. I still love Kobe. Even if he was still here, I'd still sing his praises. But to make him the logo is kind of like are we doing this because he's passed away, or are we doing this because we mean it? And it's because there's a sentiment to it, which I totally understand. And I feel like the NBA logo is meant to be ambiguous, and the NBA logo is not really the end-all be-all logo for everything. If you have to change it, it's going to be a marketing faux pas. It's going to be something like, like my boy Wes said. I'm quoting that from him because he said that, and I was like, damn, that's what I thought about without even thinking about, like, even saying that. Like, it's just going to be a whole different thing. Then you're going to hear, oh, Jordan should have been the logo, or this person. Even though Jerry West did say, I'm going to give it a Kobe. If they change it to Kobe, I'm cool with it. I don't really have a preference because I don't make any money off that shit. They didn't consult me for that shit. And that's the main thing with showing your work. A lot of people thought because Jerry West is the logo, it's like, yeah, they fucking told him, yo, you the logo and we couldn't consult with you and make it. It's like, no, Jerry West said, bro, they literally took a picture of me and used that. Like, but that's the thing with showing your work. You got to read the shit. You got to even if you Google Jerry West logo, that article comes up where he discusses that. You know, I learned that from watching Paul Lucas from UniWatch, who used to who works for ESPN. I don't think he's there anymore, but discusses like how uniforms were created, how logos are made, what the inspirations are, all that type of stuff. A lot of people jump to the conclusion that Jerry West, even though yes, he's modeled after the logo, he really isn't the logo. It's just a silhouette of him that was used, and he was a consultant. He doesn't get paid for that shit because then it goes into royalties. It goes into the whole financial bearings of that. Yeah. So for me, if you're gonna do it, a nice touch. If you want to use the Mamba logo, if Vanessa Bryant decides to do that down the line, like Jordan, like Kobe, like Jordan did with the Jumpman, if they do that, okay, do that. That's a nice touch. You named the All-Star Game MVP trophy after Kobe Bryant. Like, there's more flowers there to be given, but with the NBA logo, it's supposed to be an ambiguous thing. It's not supposed to be based off one player. It just happened to be that narrative, like we say, narratives drive everything, was taken with and ran with. So I'm cutting promos today. My fault, man. I had a lot of my mind, bro.
It's straight. That's what you're supposed to do. That's why we're here. For me, and it's once again, you said everything that's best. Man, you know what's crazy? And I might be out of pocket for saying this, but fuck it. Kyrie Irving acts like the game when he's just like somber over a friend that passed away. You know how the game when Nipsey died? I'm like, bruh, you over here sad more than Lauren London. Kyrie over here, and even though we don't see Vanessa grieving, but damn, I'm like, bro, you grieving more for Kobe than Vanessa is publicly.
Publicly, right.
It's like, no. So what you just said is right. Like, do you want the logo to be Kobe because he passed away? The answer got to be yes, because you didn't say that a couple of years ago. I'm not saying it's a bad thing that you didn't say it a couple of years ago, but now it's just like, man, you got to understand that logo with Jerry West has been here for years. If they change the logo, it's going to be the same thing for years. They're not going to change it. But if they do, it's here forever. So you got to understand you're being a little selfish in a way because you're not thinking about the Bryants and how that logo will be synonymous with their name, their last name, and then they got to think about their father. I think the whole point of all this is just try to keep the thought of Vanessa and the kids losing their sister and their father. I think that's the whole point of it right now. And, maybe that's why the NBA, because I haven't seen them talk too much about, they talk about Kobe here and there, but, they don't show it as much as they have. And it's been about a year. So you don't want to keep grieving about it because that could be devastating, not just for the family, but for others that were personally close to him. You don't want to watch a game and see that. So the whole point is just like, you want to stay away from that as much as possible. And, it's just like you said, I didn't know that about, how the logo came to be and how Jerry West didn't take a picture. And it seems like he never really cared about it anyway, because it seems like he always had that mindset, like, man, I don't know, I ain't got nothing to do with it. I'm just
Right.
here to play ball. And then in the instance of now, I'm here to run an organization and help run one. So, no, you're absolutely right. Do they? I mean, it don't matter. Like, they changed the logo. Like, I haven't thought about the NBA logo in years. Like, when you see it, it's like it's the NBA logo, but I don't think about the NBA logo. Hell, half the time when I see stuff about the NBA, it's just NBA. It's
Right.
not the logo, Jerry West.
Right. And that's the thing. People like, because yes, he was modeled after, but then it turned into, oh, like he was chosen or he asked to be that. Like, that wasn't what it was. Like, it literally was just, we looked at silhouettes of players and we literally, the NBA, like, I promise you, if you Google this, the NBA logo was literally made a year after the MLB logo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just like a Google search tells you everything. Jerry West was not chosen to be the logo. It just happened to be a picture. They looked at silhouettes of players. They looked at pictures of players and said, okay, this is the MLB logo. This is what we want to do with it. Oh shit. This is how the MLB wanted to do their logo. The guy who oversaw Alan Siegel, who oversaw Jerry Dior, made the MLB making the MLB logo, decided the NBA wants to do this too. All right, I got something for them.
And they should be, and people
but
should
that's
be
the
more
narrative
pissed
that the
that
people run with.
they should be more pissed that Jerry West got the Finals MVP when they ain't even win the championship. That's what you should be more pissed about. That's still crazy.
I mean, that's what it was back in the day, but at the end of the day, it's
he like the only player, according to my knowledge.
Yeah, but that's because he was going crazy. That motherfucker's averaging like 40 and 10 and shit. Like,
yeah, no. I think his
Like-
career. I think his career averaged like 28, if I'm not mistaken. It's somewhere high up there. But in the playoffs now, he used to go stupid.
and if you want to keep it a beam, Jerry West has done great. If you really want to keep that whole thing with Jerry West, because I feel like the thing with the logo, it discredits Jerry. People like to, like, in a weird way, it's like Jerry West gets hailed as being the logo, but then he gets discredited for what he did as a player. Like, Jerry West has put on some motherfucking numbers, brother. Like, and not only that, as an executive, like, he's the guy who orchestrated the Kobe Bryant trade. He gave Kobe a chance. Right. He's done what he did with the Grizzlies. He gave the Grizzlies an identity. He helped the Clippers for a really long time. He's a Clippers exec. Like, Jerry West, not only for what he's done on the court, but off the court as an executive, is also something that people forget to speak about as well.
Right.
And that whole narrative, like, I hate saying this because I don't like to, like, it makes me, I don't want to say it makes me sound excessive or I'm taking it out of context, but it's like when the whole logo thing is, like, I understand where Kyrie's coming from, the sentiment, but I knew when I was, like, listening to people speak about it or people tweet about it, like, bro, they're going to make this bigger than what it really fucking is. Like, oh, America's changed. Like, it's supposed to be a thing of ambiguity. Right. Now, granted, has that ambiguity been followed for years on a consistent basis? You and I know no.
Right.
You know, but at the end of the day, like, you can't, like, it's not that you can't do it, but it's like at the end of the day, like, that's the message of the league. That logo is a representation of ambiguity.
Right.
If you make it as Kobe, then it turns into the, oh, it should have been Jordan, and it should have been this, and it should have been that, and it's like, just, he's gonna get his flowers eventually. Like, it's like everybody wants to fucking throw the flowers on Kobe now, and then 10 years we forget about the shit. It's like, no, let that shit grow. Let it grow the way it is.
I say people forget now. Like I said, TNT, they had, his number in the background. They kind of took that away. But at the same time, it probably made Shaq depressed. It probably made others depressed. Right. I think now they kind of are going back. So I won't say they forget about him, but at the same time, it's probably just getting to a point where it's probably still bothering
people.
Too
much. It's too much. Like,
so putting the logo, that's going to make it worse because you got to think about it every time you see that logo.
Right. And even, Vanessa Bryant has said publicly, like, listen, like, I don't really want any tribute to Kobe now. Like, I'm still grieving about this shit.
Thank you. So
you have to let those people grieve. And down the line, if they want to do that and they want to do more things in regards to Kobe Bryant, like I said, she's going to be she's highly likely the control of his estate. So down the line, if they decide to do, because obviously the sneakers have been limited and all his merch sold out because of his passing. And obviously they're going to, down the line, she may look into that and be like, you know what? I want to do a Mamba Academy line or a Mamba Sports line with Nike. Like kind of how Jordan has his own brand with the Jumpman. They'll use the trifecta logo, and you could put that on jerseys if you want to do that. But like this whole thing, like it's getting too much now.
Yeah.
And it's not allowing people to grieve. And like I respect Kyrie's sentiment about it because he is right. The league was built off of Black Kings. We're not gonna sit here and fucking lie. Like it started with
we know what's up, but his
Magic
phrasing be hilarious, bro.
Huh?
It's real, but his phrasing but hilarious. Like he really is.
Yeah, it's like a Boondocks episode.
I definitely call him Kofi Sham God. Like, bro, he really just be like, bro, all right, my nigga. Like, I get it, bro.
Yo.
It's just ridiculous. Like, I understand the Sage and all that. It's just like, all right, bro. I get it, my nigga. I get it. You Black History Month every month. I feel you. Bro.
He's a Lakota Sham God.
Yeah, it's like, bro, I understand, but it's just like, come on, bro. I keep trying to tell everybody, he gonna fuck around and say something. He gonna do something. He gonna say some Nick Cannon type shit.
Yeah, I mean,
it's coming. Ask him about the Israelites. Somebody need to ask him in the post game about the Israelites.
Oh, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Please, man. Listen, I have Kyrie Irving on my fantasy team. He took his little 4 week sabbatical, which I understand. I don't want that anymore. I'm trying to win this. I'm trying to win this money. Kyrie, please chill, Kyrie.
All sage, all vibes, no mask.
All sage, no mask.
How you was in that club, yeah.
Oh fuck, man, but yeah, bro, like y'all need to relax with this fucking. Like I get it, but no. And the thing is, people are gonna say, "Oh, but the league would like we need to put a black player as the face and all that," and that's understandable. You know, there are players. If you're gonna do the logo thing, there's things you need to remember. Like Magic before Magic and Bird, the NBA Finals was on fucking tape delay.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fucking Knicks, when the Knicks won a championship, motherfuckers find out like 2 days later.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
newspaper and shit.
Motherfuckers played on Sunday, and then you get the newspaper on Monday. Like, oh shit, this game, oh shit, we won. Like, you had to find that shit out. That shit was on the radio. Bro, this is literally a couple, was it a year ago or 2 years ago? The 1973 finals, the game the Knicks won, wasn't fucking broadcasted. Like, they premiered that shit. Like, then Magic and Bird were the reason why the NBA finals stopped being on tape delay. Then you have Jordan, who even pushed it to other countries with, you know, you wearing a USA basketball at the 92 Olympics. There's shit like that comes before Kobe. With all due respect to Kobe, because Kobe is the bridge between Jordan and LeBron. And Kobe, to me, is like an extension of Jordan in a way. Like, I'm trying to think of a video game reference or another reference where I could describe that, but I can't right now. But that's not to take away from him. But it's just the sentiment. Like, I feel the sentiment, but bro, it's too like
it's Charizard and shit.
Yeah, like it's like Jordan's Biggie, like Jordan was Biggie and Kobe's Jay-Z. Like it's that. That's what it is.
But the thing is too, if you want to make somebody a logo, shit, make LeBron a logo. He got schools.
Like that, you know, that LeBron thing, if you're gonna do the LeBron logo, like you could use that or use their names as trophies. Like you did it with Kobe. You gave him the All-Star Game MVP trophy, rightfully so, because he was winning them and he won the most. So that's fine. There's a time and place for everything. The logo thing, we don't even fucking like. I don't say we don't care about the logo, but there's other, you know, a lot of the team shit don't even got some logos on them. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like we don't, because like I said, I don't even be paying attention to the logo. You just see
I'm wearing the NBA shirt
name.
right now. I'm not even paying attention to the logo, and my shit got the fucking logo in it right now. Like,
right, and that's the one I always see, just the regular NBA letters and bold.
It's fine. It fucking works, man. Like, just Kyrie, I feel you, but of course, everybody was gonna take it out of context because Kyrie Irving said it. But
Black Kings, that's hilarious.
I mean, he's not wrong, but
he's not lying. But it's just the way he
ain't lying. Yeah, he ain't lying. Yeah, the way he phrased it, it's just like, wait, what? But all right, So to move on to the WNBA, the Atlanta Dream was sold. The sale went through. I want to say this was Thursday, if I remember correctly. Let me just double check the Atlanta Dream. I had it up just now too.
I believe it was on Thursday.
It was on Thursday. Yeah. So it was announced the sale of the Atlanta Dream was to a new ownership group that will include former Dream player Renee Montgomery, who opted out last season to focus on social justice matters. The rest of the group was sold to an investor group. I just literally had the article up and it does it. Okay. So this is from the WNBA. This is their full press release. This is from February 26th, which was Thursday. The WNBA and NBA boards of governors have unanimously approved the sale of the Atlanta Dream to Larry Goldsteiner, I'm going to assume that, chairman of Northland, an industry-leading national real estate firm. The three-member investor group is comprised of former Dream star Renee Montgomery, Northland president and chief operating officer Suzanne Aber, and Goldsteiner. Says with the unanimous, this is a quote from the commissioner Kathy Engelbert, with the unanimous WNBA and NBA votes today marks a new beginning for the Atlanta Dream organization, and we're very pleased to announce the group to the WNBA. And this is other quotes. Through that former WNBA star Renee Montgomery will be joining the ownership group as an investor and executive for the team. Renee's a trailblazer who made a major impact for the game and beyond. So she will be Renee Montgomery is the first former player to become an owner and executive of the team. She sat out the 2020 season to focus on social justice issues and recently announced her retirement from the league after 11 seasons. She was a two-time NBA champion. She says, "My dream has come true. Breaking barriers for minorities and women by being the first WNBA player to both have a stake in ownership and leadership role is an opportunity I take very seriously." So this is a big deal. I mean, teams are starting to get sold. WNBA, a lot of, it's cool that people are starting to pay more attention to it. Obviously the women's brand of basketball, I actually enjoy watching. I mean, we discussed this a while ago. It's more of a fundamental base. It's not strictly athleticism. It's not 2K, you know what I mean, in real life. But it's cool that, it sucks that it took social justice issues and them having to literally stand up against the league for them to be recognized, and not just for their play, but just for their, their reform and their actions off of the court. But this is pretty interesting considering, we know about the Kelly Loeffler situation, how racist, bigot ass fucker, white women want to be white women. But the players of the Atlanta Dream, the players, I'm not going to say the organization, but the players themselves and the WNBA players influenced and a whole Senate election, which is a huge deal. But for it to be sold to, a new investor group, even though Baron Davis and LeBron James said they wanted to, it's a little, I really hope LeBron James and Baron Davis were able to buy a team. Maybe they will when LeBron be able to, when he's all said and done with playing the game. Wouldn't be surprised if he owns an NBA team considering all the money that he's raked in. But supposedly LeBron James did kind of have a part in that too, with Renee Montgomery kind of getting that role instead of, it being him or Baron Davis, considering they had the bread. But this is a big deal. I mean, finally, the WNBA fulfilled their promise. They got her Kelly Loeffler's share of the dream. It was sold to people who seem to really care, and especially a former NBA, a WNBA player, and somebody who's going to get a leadership role. That's a big fucking deal. I mean, now the WNBA is starting to get more notoriety with this. Obviously, with Atlanta, with going on recently. Remember, Mark Davis from Al Davis' son bought the Las Vegas Aces, which is pretty cool. They're finally getting a fucking chief marketing officer after 23 years of existence. Yeah. David Stern was treating the WNBA as a tax write-off, considering the great players they have now. But this is just another great step in the direction, not only for the WNBA, but for women's basketball in general. Because now people are going to start paying more attention, because now it seems to be people who want to invest in this league and want to make this league bigger. Maybe, I don't know, bigger than what it is now, even though it's starting to gain traction, and that's going to take years and perhaps decades. But this is a step in the right direction,
Absolutely. It's once again WNBA players being a step ahead of NBA players when it comes to, I want to say renovation, so to speak, of the league, doing something totally different that's not possibly able to be done in the NBA. Like, I don't see a player playing for the NBA, even if he's making $200 million, being able to invest into the team. I feel like they'll shut that down in a way, and it's probably more expensive, but at the same time, you're supposed to get partners to invest into the team or invest to buy something. But with this, I feel like, it was probably easier to do because it is the WNBA, and it's a little bit cheaper to do. So, that's beautiful. They got that out of her hands quick as soon as she said all that bigotry that she said about the Black Lives Matter movements, and many other aspects of being a bigot and being an idiot as well. So, props to the player that bought it. Props to overall the WNBA being, I wouldn't say the standard of what it is to be a professional, or I could say that the players being a standard of what it is to be a professional, and always, and they have to play, except for the past year because of the virus. They've always had to play like numerous amounts of, like we talked about it before. They have to play numerous amounts of games overseas,
Right.
just to try to make a little extra money on the side. And sometimes they just play for the love of the game, so they never really stop hooping. So
Yep.
for this time, at this moment that we're in right now, for them to have this long of a break is exceptional. So
Definitely. Like you were saying before, a lot of them play all year round. These guys don't take the NBA guys complaining, talking about 90 days and I don't have the time. Meanwhile, the WNBA players, they go fucking win. Some of these players fucking around, go to the playoffs, and then 2 weeks later are playing in Europe.
right.
Or sometimes, or go play in Europe and then go stop their season, go play the Olympics, then go back to Europe, then only have 2 weeks off. They come back to the WNBA. They're literally playing all year long. So.
And we know they didn't have the same accommodations up until last season or the season before last. No, last season, when they were able to get better flights and, better stays. So we didn't know that until we knew it, but, they finally accommodated them on that. They got to be comfortable as well.
No, most definitely. So I just wanted to pull up the strength of schedule because the second half schedule was released for the NBA. There's a bunch of teams that have more games. Obviously, the Grizzlies had 5-6 games postponed due to coronavirus. The Wizards did. So there's a website called Positive Residual. I'm gonna send this to you too. I could have sworn I did send this to you, but I didn't. But I have the chart up. I don't know if you want to share your screen or whatnot if you're able to, but this website called Positive Residual. They made a graph discussing the strength of schedule for the NBA for the rest of the year. And in this, I'm pulling it up now. I just had this whole thing. I don't know why this is.
I'm about to try to pull it up on the screen as well.
Yeah, right. You want me to DM it to you?
No, it's cool. I'm about to just email it to me, and then I'll bring it up that way.
All right, bad. But yeah, this was the chart is a little weird, but if you click strength of schedule, it pops up where red is the most extreme strength and blue is the easiest schedule. So while Banks pulls that up, it's gonna be interesting. Hold on, I'm just pulling it up now. But yeah, man.
Yeah, because I think the Celtics got an easier schedule this upcoming second half.
They do. Yes. So while Banks pulls it up, I'll read off a couple of them. So the hardest schedule is the Orlando Magic. The top 5. So I'm gonna go 5-1 from. So the top 5. So this is 1 to 5, like hardest to 1 to 5. The hardest schedule is the Orlando Magic. The Rockets have the second hardest schedule. The Bulls have the third. The Spurs have the fourth. Lakers have Lakers and Clippers have the 5th and 6th. Then in regards to the easiest schedule, surprise, surprise, it is. I'm not surprised at this. The Utah Jazz have the easiest schedule in the league, considering they had the best record. The Pistons, the Nuggets, the Celtics, and the Dallas Mavericks. Then in regards to I'll name certain playoff teams. The Nets are kind of in the middle. The Knicks are in the top half in regards to a harder schedule. They're 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The Knicks had the 10th hardest schedule. The Warriors have the 9th hardest schedule. Then there are a couple teams that are in the middle of the pack, like the 76ers have a moderate schedule. The Nets have like a moderate schedule. They're in the middle of the league. The Bucks, the Hornets, the Suns, the Hawks are they have the 8th easiest schedule. The Heat have an easy schedule. So, I mean, in regards to that, let's see if it pulls up.
Give me a second. I got an old ass PC, man.
No, go ahead, dog. Do what you gotta do.
All right, can you see it?
Yeah, it's loading up now. Looks like. Yep, there you go. So yeah, so scroll up and click SOS, that all the way at the end, where it shows it should show the red first.
You said scroll up, right?
Where it says remaining games,
Where am I
you
going?
see where it says SOS, where the graph is. So scroll up a bit, schedule summary. You see how it says season, team. Go to remaining games. Go to where the SOS is, and click that. And that'll show the hardest schedule to the top, I think. Or it may show it shows the easiest first. That's you want to go? Yeah, well, that's the easiest. So yeah, so if you see on the screen the easiest schedule, if you scroll all the way down. Oh, okay. You have it up. Okay, you have it up the right way. Perfect. Yeah, so it does it in order. So if you go, let's go from the top. So the hardest schedule is the Orlando Magic. It's the Magic, the Rockets, the Bulls have the third lowest schedule, the third hardest schedule. The Spurs, the Clippers, and the Lakers. So that's going to be interesting for especially the Bulls, because the Bulls are kind of like we said. The Bulls are 7. I think they're 6th or 7th. They're 6th or 7th now because the Heat won. And between 4th and 10th, it's a game difference. So you have a 2-3 game losing streak. Another team has a 2-3 game losing streak. You say goodbye to that. That's gonna be interesting for them. The Lakers, we know obviously Anthony Davis with the injury, he's out for a month. They need to tread water. Like the Lakers cannot screw around and be, going on losing streaks, because they're the third seed right now. They could fuck around and slip even worse. So,
which you know what, I had a conversation with somebody about that. That's not bad if they sink that low, man. There's no expectations for you. You won a championship and you just came back 2 months later. So, of course, you don't want to be as even though it's like particularly there's no fans there, but you don't want to be on a road game.
Right.
Especially in the way that they do. Well, in the way they're doing it now, it's not that bad if you do a road game, but at the same time, it's no real high expectations for them, particularly, except for because they are the Lakers. Yeah, we want to see them go back to the finals, but it's if they don't listen. I thought about this, and this is just a side note, and we'll get back to this. I said last night, I said, man, AD first season with the Lakers, he won a championship. LeBron got his 4th. If LeBron never get another championship again, it's cool.
Right. I mean, in regards to that, also, the thing is with the Lakers is because they have to adjust we still have to adjust the defender and rebounder thing, because if they could fuck around and go against like the Nuggets, the Mavericks, the Clippers, that's 3 teams you don't want to go against because they all have bigs that are really good. Even the Jazz, they could beat the Mavs. I mean, but then if Porzingis were to be healthy, that gives them a problem. But we can't trust Porzingis. But let's just say, even to go further, they could go against the Nuggets, then the Clippers, and then the Jazz. And the Jazz, you have Rudy Gobert. So there's that thing that yes, they could slip, but you could also worry about depending on who you play against. They're gonna have fits, because there are a lot of good bigs not only in the West but also the East, and their main issue is the bigs. So in regards to this strength of schedule, they also discussed why this is the website I'm speaking about is Positive Residual, which is more like a kind of a analytics based site, but they're more. I don't like trusting analytics site, but when they explain things and it's very simple, they explain the rest disadvantages. So the rest disadvantages is a lot of back-to-backs, a lot of consecutive games. And the reason why the Lakers do have a challenging schedule moving forward, according to their Twitter, is that they have 9 games with rest disadvantages, meaning they're playing the second of a back-to-back while their opponent is rested. That's what a rest disadvantage is. The Raptors' schedule is their schedule is easy in April, but their final stretch is challenging for the Raptors. This is the Raptors we're talking about, including games against the Lakers and Clippers, Brooklyn, Denver, Utah, and Dallas. Now, the thing with that schedule is with the Raptors is that if those teams, because that's one, two, that's six playoffs. That's six. Really, if you really want to think about it, that's 5 teams that are already in the playoffs. If you really want to think about it, and one that's looking into it, which is Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Denver's a low seed, but I think Denver's going to make the playoffs. I'm not worried. I don't know what their seed is going to be, but Denver's the team that we think going to get in. But with Dallas, they may not rest Luka and Porzingis. The other teams may, though, if they make the playoffs. So that's why their schedule seems to be pretty easy. I mean, the Jazz are considered to have the easiest schedule because they have a lot of games against weak teams. Like they have 2 games against Minnesota, 2 games against OKC, 3 versus Sacramento, 2 versus Orlando. They're playing against a lot of weak teams. They talk about Miami's schedule. Why Miami has a pretty easy schedule. According to this graph, they have the. Hold on 1 second. I'm checking right now. According to Miami, can you just scroll down to the bottom if you don't want? Let's see other teams. Yeah, Miami. I think Miami has either the 4th or 5th easiest schedule. Excuse me. You see, it's trending downward. The Miami Heat actually have 3, 6. They have a 7th easiest schedule, so they're right behind Toronto. And the thing with Toronto, Miami is they have the most home games moving forward. Mm-hmm. So each of them have 22 home games, even though Toronto's playing in Tampa, but they're playing really well and they're getting acclimated to it. So that works with them. They also play Cleveland 3 times, Minnesota twice, Orlando twice. So they're playing against weak teams. I mean, the Suns. I mean, this is an interesting thing. If you go on Positive Residual on their Twitter, you have to scroll down a bit, but they have a link describing this. This is the chart that is on Banks is sharing. Blue being the easiest schedule, so those are the easiest schedules with the Jazz, the Nuggets, the Celtics, which with Boston and Dallas, that helps them. Like Dallas is outside looking in. If Luka can play a little bit more efficiently and they're healthy, they could get into the playoffs. But the Heat, this is an advantage for the Heat. The Hawks you see the Hawks here, the Suns. I mean, strength of schedule is important. So there are a couple teams that there's a lot of people in the middle of the pack. Like we see here, Brooklyn's in the middle of the pack, so their schedule's decent, even though they're a great team, which are up. The Bucks, the Hornets, the Wizards in the bottom. The Sixers kind of have a decent. The Knicks, I think, have the 10th hardest one when I looked at it. The Warriors about the same. Like the biggest challenge with the strength of schedule is going to be, to me, is the Bulls and the Lakers. Because the Bulls, if the Bulls get on a fuck around and go on a 3-4 game losing streak, they missing the playoffs. Like the schedule is so tense.
And we tend to blow leads as well because we was up last night by 10.
Right. So they're a young team. So, you're in a squad, if you fuck around and go on a losing streak, you could go from 4th to 10th.
Mm-hmm.
So now there are the teams that were playoff teams last year that are starting to get their bearings back, like Toronto, Miami. And meanwhile, the young teams are still fighting for a spot, like, obviously the Knicks, the Pacers, the Bulls, and all them dudes. So definitely.
You want me to scroll up or anything?
No, go ahead, man. I mean, if you got any more, any analyses that you have about the strength of schedule, like.
No, just going back to what I said about the Lakers. This is just my personal opinion, of course, because you are the most popular basketball franchise in probably sports history. You have this tendency where that you always have to win, and I think people forget even before LeBron came, the Lakers were losing, and it was bad for the league when the Lakers were losing. But at the same time, they have a little bit leeway. LeBron hasn't missed a game. You know how AD is, and they just came back 2 months ago. They don't have a rim protector. Marc Gasol is just done. I'm like, bro, Marc Gasol need to go home. Right now, he need to go home. He got all career. We knew it was going to happen, but damn, he really looked bad. He can't rebound. He can't shoot.
He was on that plane to Spain.
look, he always shoot with his tippy toes, but damn, he really shooting with his tippy toes now. He can't move.
Bricking them.
He's just a big body there. So that's what I'm saying. So of course you don't want them to drop below, the fourth seed, because then you start going to the danger zone where, number one, if they, let's say for example, they fall to the eighth seed and then the Jazz hold on to that first seed, they can drop to.
Right.
They don't want to play in Utah because Utah is a hellhole as a whole, state.
I mean, shit. You let Vernon Maxwell tell it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, fuck Salt Lake City. I've been through there. Ain't shit out there. He said ain't no Wi-Fi out there. He's not lying. I don't even think they got cell phone service. But
That's crazy.
At the airport, he said that, which is hilarious and it's true. So you don't want to play them in the first round because once again, the Rudy Gobert. The second seed is the Clippers. I think everybody was saying last year, and I was saying you got to relax. How the Clippers could beat the Lakers. I think this year, if the Clippers were to face the Lakers right now, if the playoffs started, the Clippers dusting them.
Easy.
Right now. Even with Paul George having that foot injury right now, you can tell it's still bothering him because he only getting like 13 points, whereas the beginning of the season he was putting up like 25 or so. So with the Lakers, you don't want to drop below. They right now the third seed, they don't drop below. But otherwise than that, the Warriors are the seventh seed, right? Right now in the West.
The Warriors are, I want to say they're the seventh seed, but let me double check that. I just had it up, man. Oh, let me tell you.
It's all good. Let me see.
The Warriors. Hold on, I gotta go into that beat real quick.
Let me see. This is the
That's the.
Let me see. Let me see the Warriors.
I got you right now. I just pulled it up. The Warriors are the West. Warriors are 7th seed, yes.
Okay, let me look at their schedule. You can pull it up here.
Yep, that has all the schedule stuff.
Okay, so now they play tomorrow against the Lakers, and I'm looking forward to that game. I actually got that as a win for the Warriors. They play Portland, Phoenix, Clippers. They got a tough ass schedule for March.
Yeah, they were listed. I think on that chart they were listed as the either 8th or 9th. They're right. The Knicks and the Warriors are like right next. I think the Knicks were 10th, and I think the Warriors are 9th. So they're in the top 10 of the hard. They're in the half of what of strength of schedule that's tough.
Okay, let me look.
And the Lakers have the Lakers were listed as the 4th. So if you go into March. Yeah, they play the Warriors tonight, right? They play tonight, correct?
No, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Oh yeah, it is tomorrow. My bad.
Yeah,
so you got like Phoenix, Sacramento. Like, look at that March schedule. That's all playoff teams except for Orlando, Cleveland,
Minnesota,
and Minnesota. And the Pelicans are right there. The Pelicans, I think, are a game back of the 10th seed. So that's all playoff teams right there. That's all playoff teams right there, brother.
Yeah, because I'm looking to see, because I think, can they get past Indiana? No, they can't. They can get past the Kings.
Look, and then here's the thing. Indiana, you're playing the East team, but look who they have. They got DeMontis Sabonis and Miles Turner.
Yeah, they got solo Indiana. We already know Miles Turner at one point was, I think, leading the leagues in blocks.
Yeah, like Miles Turner. Miles Turner, who the Celtics should have gotten instead of fucking Tristan Thompson and all that shit. But
Simpson Thompson, yeah.
I'm fucking, but I won't get my number.
He want to be in Calabasas right now. He don't want to be out there in the main streets of Boston.
Oh,
I'm looking at their March schedule. So
yeah, GSW, Minnesota. That's a difficult schedule. Let
me look at the Clippers and then we can move on.
Yeah, the Clippers were I think 6th if I remember correctly.
Boston, Washington. They got a decent schedule. They play the Spurs twice in a back-to-back. Away, Milwaukee, Orlando. Okay. Yeah, this isn't a bad schedule in March. They might hold that second seed.
They may. I mean, as long as nobody
depending
gets
on what
hurt,
happened with Paul George.
They may.
Yeah.
But then there's also the interesting dilemma of remaining games, which San Antonio, Memphis, and Washington have the most. For the most part, everybody's like the the Clippers have the least amount with 37. For the most part, it's like 38, 39. I think every team has faced a cancellation. The Knicks
Mm-hmm.
only have one game. I think I got canceled. I think. Oh no, the Knicks have 39. Maybe the scheduling is different, but yeah, the most games is going to be San Antonio with 44 because remember San Antonio got hit with the virus hard. And Memphis and Washington. So I mean, the second half is gonna be interesting. I mean, there are a couple teams that are getting more games.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Knicks got an extra 4 games. I think there's a Knicks Bulls game on ESPN. I think I forgot the date though, but I think the Knicks and the Bulls got a game. They got a game with Toronto. I think a game with Boston and a game with somebody else. I just can't remember who, but I know they got 4 games, 4 more games on
You
national
talking about
TV.
from
So I think it's for March or April. But like they've discussed how like a lot of the teams now that weren't really supposed to be playoff teams are in the playoffs now and aren't getting that many nationally televised games. So they kind of made a little bit of a push to get those teams some games. So I know the Bulls got a couple, the Knicks got like I think 4. I think Indiana got a couple too. Like they added a couple. They changed a couple of games to make them national TV. So it's good to see that it's not going to be the same teams every year. Like obviously, we want to people are going to see the Warriors and the Lakers and the Clippers and the Nets and shit. But now we're going to start seeing the Knicks on national TV now. We're going to start seeing the Bulls on national TV now. Like it's a lot of young, exciting teams. So I mean, definitely, we have something to look forward to in regards to the NBA and what's to come next. But yeah, a lot of basketball shit happened this week. So I mean,
yeah.
to wrap, I mean, this is. I guess the last topic is going to be, boy,
How you say his name? Zoltan. If y'all seen Dude, Where's My
Zoltan.
Car? Yeah, that's Zoltan.
Zoltan. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is his name.
Damn, you know how to enunciate that shit?
Bro, I watched soccer, bro. He played for Barcelona, so yeah. But Zlatan Ibrahimovic, long tenured soccer player, great player. I mean, I have to cut a promo on him too because he fucking up. But he has some comments to say about LeBron James in regards to politicians and sports,
specifically LeBron,
because he didn't talk about anybody else. But
they always fucking with LeBron, man.
Yeah, like leave that man alone, bro. Hold on, I gotta find. Damn, I just had that shit up too. I'm gonna pull Zlatan's comments up. I don't know if I can play that shit because I don't know if we're gonna get flagged. So I don't think I'm gonna play it. But yo, I searched Zlatan Ibrahimovic. You know what's the first thing that comes up on Twitter?
The LeBron comments.
No, yeah. You know who came up first?
Who?
Los Angeles legend, BD, Baron Davis.
Oh, what BD said?
He said, and I quote, Zlatan, stay your ass out of LA. The Galaxy suck anyway. And you dumb as hell. Take that stolen Zuhan look and give it back to Sandler.
That's all you need to hear. That's all you need to hear. So, if an LA person tell you stay out of LA, you straight.
Now, I'm trying to fucking find I'm trying to find the Zlatan statement because he wrote about it. What the fuck?
He said stay out of LA. That's all you need to know.
Oh, this is quoted. It was part of a question, but he said, I like LeBron. I like him a lot. He said, I like him as speaking of LeBron James a lot. He's phenomenal, but I don't like when people with a status speak about politics. Do what you're good at doing. I play football because I'm the best playing football, which you kind of isn't anymore. That's another story. I'm no politician. If I'd been a politician, I would be doing politics. This is the first mistake famous people do when they become famous. For me, it is better to avoid certain topics and do what you're good doing. Otherwise, you risk doing something wrongly. Now, you know, let me read LeBron's comments, and then I'll let you go, and then I'll go because I got a problem with a cut about this shit too. Because these motherfuckers, white people out of control. LeBron James responded. So this happened earlier in the day. These comments came out. Granted, I was on a phone interview, so I didn't see it until later. But Zlatan has said this earlier. For the people, if you read this, who are listening to podcasts, who don't know, Zlatan Ibrahimovic is a football star, great, very good player. I'm not, he's a jackass, and I'm gonna tell you why later down on after we speak about this. I thought let Banks go, but a very good football player, has played all over Europe. Recently played in MLS with the Los Angeles Galaxy. Now he's back in Italy playing for AC Milan in the Italian league and Serie A. But he's played for Barcelona. He's Swedish, from Bosnian descent, which I'm gonna speak about that later because it's ironic he says this. But very great player, world class striker, still at almost 40 years old, playing at a pretty high level. So that's who Zlatan Ibrahimovic is. If you want to go YouTube his highlights, go ahead. I do as you will. In response to LeBron James, he said, and I quote, "I will never shut up about things that are wrong. I preach about my people, and I preach about equality, social justice, racism, voter suppression, things that go on in our community. I'll use my platform to continue to shed light on everything that's going on around this country and around the world. There's no way I would ever stick to sports because I understand how powerful this platform and my voice is." He's the guy who said in Sweden. He's speaking about Zlatan now. He's the guy who said in Sweden. He's the guy who said in Sweden he was talking about the same things because his last name wasn't something like a traditional Swedish last name. He felt like there was some racism going on. I speak from a very educated mind. I'm kind of the wrong guy to go at because I do my homework. Then LeBron's comments were after the Lakers Blazers game that was on ESPN last night, which was on Civil Cross Saturday, Friday night, and he also shouted out Renee Montgomery. He shouted out the Atlanta Dream Cell. He discussed everything that was going on and basically he picked Zlatan picked the wrong guy to fuck with. But
right.
I'll let you go and say what you got to say before I get my promo off. So,
man, look, if he chooses being LeBron James to say what he wants to say about politics, what's going on in this country, this bullshit that goes on in this country, everything that has to do with our people, let that man say whatever he needs to say. See, my thing is with people, why you care? Why do you care what somebody has to say if it ain't directly is affecting you or it's not directed at you and your people or your family? That's the problem with people. Everybody just want to talk and don't have shit to say. So that's the problem with Zlatan. You just
Zlatan. That's what you gonna call it.
Zlatan, I don't know, bro. I be fucking
Zlatan.
Yeah, but yeah. So with Zlatan, it's just like my thing is too, and I understand because most of the great people gonna be hated on. They always come at LeBron, bro. You looking at the negative, you ain't seeing the positive he's doing. He got a school opening. Shouts out to Russ, another LA legend, South Central legend. He got a school opening up in LA as well. They just looking at him and pointing at him for the things that he believes in. But then you told me he's a fan of Ali, right?
Yeah, so the ironic part is that he said that his favorite athlete at one point was Muhammad Ali for what he did inside and outside the ring. I'm gonna play that shit because it's fucking interesting. Hold on, I'm gonna go add to it.
Do football players get CTE?
Do soccer players get? I mean, they get concussions. It's possible.
Okay, so he must have had a couple of them.
I do not recall that, but I'll play it for you right now. Let me find. I gotta scroll through and hold on.
Ali.
Days ago, it was Muhammad Ali. For me, he was a big inspiration. He was my idol. This was one of my dreams to meet him, but it will not happen. But what he did for in the ring, outside ring, nobody will reach halfway of what he did. He put it color, not for one country, put it color for the whole world and what he stood for. So he's a big inspiration to take after.
Yeah, Boris All Lives Matter is tripping. I don't know. When was this when he said this?
This was years ago. I think this was this was a while ago.
And I think LeBron.
I mean, Muhammad Ali passed when
2016. If I'm not mistaken.
I'll check. It was like 4 or 5 years ago. So this was Muhammad. I'll tell you right now. So yeah, he passed the summer of 2016. So this was 5 years ago when Zlatan was
I remember
playing
vividly.
for. Who was Zlatan playing for at the time? Because he's played for a lot of teams. At this time, he was in match. Okay, yeah, he was still in Europe at the time. So this was something that happened. He probably talked about that in Europe.
And LeBron has been kind of on doing this for a while now. He's kind of been quote unquote political for a while now. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, from what I remember correctly, that was more so since LeBron's kind of used his voice more since
technology has advanced.
Yeah, like since Trayvon, the farthest I remember LeBron being more of a voice and using his voice and his platform for things was probably Trayvon Martin, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Was that situation? So, let me start off by saying, as a football, basically, he told him to shut up and dribble. That's what he said. I'm gonna just keep it at that. Mind you, Zlatan Ibrahimovic is a 39-year-old. This is, what'd you say?
Europeans tend to have this tendency to keep telling him to do that.
Okay, so let me preface this by telling you who Zlatan Ibrahimovic is, right? This is a 39-year-old man who still speaks about himself in the third person, who still calls himself a god and a lion, and once said that his man bun gives him powers. Now, granted, I'm a 29-year-old man. I happen to have a man bun and long hair. I do not say that the power's in my hair. I'm not fucking. He thinks he's Pusha T. That's not how this works. So Zlatan needs to fucking relax.
You know what? Like a GTA 4 character.
That too. Yes, he sounds like he sounds like a GTA 4 boss, but
Nico's cousin.
Nico Bellic.
Cousin, that's what we want to sound like.
Bruh. So there's that too. Now, mind you, if for the soccer fans, the Champions League is the European tournament that happens amongst the club teams, the best club teams from Europe all year, and the Champions League is the trophy that is awarded. It's a tournament basically, aside from the regular country seasons. Like there's the Premier League in England, there's Serie A in Italy, there's Liga 1 in France, La Liga in Spain, and the Bundesliga in Germany. Those are the big five leagues. That's what they call the big five leagues in Europe. That's where some of the best soccer players all over the world, they go to play in those big five leagues. So in the UEFA Champions League, which is the European Union, which is all of those leagues out of Europe, go play in the Champions League. There's a qualification tournament. You play in group stages, then it turns into knockout stages, and then the winner of the Champions League is considered the best club team in Europe. Zlatan Ibrahimovic has won, and we're gonna go from sports to personal to how he is as a person. He's won the domestic league title in 4 countries, which is impressive. He did it with Barcelona 1 year. He's done it with in Inter Milan. He did it in France with PSG, with Paris Saint-Germain. He's done it in England. Like he's won titles. Basically, any team he's won a league title in that respective country. He's never won a Champions League. And I'm like, you know why he hasn't won a Champions League? Because God don't fucking like ugly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, right. And God don't like ugly. And the man in the man. But I gotta cut my camera off because I don't know what my dog's doing. But I'm gonna still talk. So, mind you, this man, like, you say all this shit. You speak about yourself in the third person. You do all this wild stuff. And I'm like, God don't like ugly because you cannot win the one thing that people still talk shit about you for not winning. This is a guy who thinks like he's built like he's a fucking wrestling action figure or something. He gave what Zlatan Ibrahimovic gives me? He gives me very like, is it extreme for me to say Terry Bollea vibes?
No, because he hasn't dropped the word yet.
Or is he more
maybe we haven't heard it yet.
What's a wrestler that's Zlatan, like the way he's speaking? What is a wrestler he reminds you of? Does he give me like Arn Anderson vibes?
That talks in like third person.
Yeah, like very like shut up and dribble to the new guys.
Probably Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, he's like Jeff Jarrett, but with a man bun.
He's just putting himself over. And,
yeah,
what I mean? You good, but you ain't that good.
No, he's a great player. Like, he's good. But it's like, bro, you talk out of your ass too much. And then you fucking lie about shit.
Well, he might not be Jeff Jarrett. I don't, damn, bro.
I'm gonna give you time to think about that.
No. Probably Scott Hall, maybe. Or Kevin Nash, because they always got some shit to say about somebody other than their homeboys.
Yeah, but is Kevin Nash racist? Or says people to
know.
shut up and dribble? I don't really know.
Nah, I don't know about that, but I don't know. I
He
know
just
Scott Hall.
listen. He just remind me of an 80. He remind me of them old 80s. He remind me of like an old 80s white wrestler that's just like doesn't understand this. But
okay, so he gets to the Legion of Doom, both of them together.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But the thing with this is like, you tell. First of all, you don't know what's going on in America.
Right.
You don't know what's going on in Italy. Whatever's going on in Italy, because you play from a line, you're from Sweden. Talk about what's going on there. And if you don't want to talk about what's going on there, cool. But don't go out of your way to go criticize somebody else for using their platform and their voice for something that's right. For a man who's, listen, we could talk about LeBron and talk about his sports, his numbers, and criticizing him off the court and comparing to people. But the thing is like off the court, like he's been a political act. I don't want to say activist because that's a term that's a little bit straight, but he's used his voice to speak about voter suppression and racism and injustice and inequality and all the likes of that. So, hold on one second, bro. Hold on, but yeah, he goes into all of that stuff. So, in regards to that, like.
All right, so what my brother's trying to say is before the pit bull went crazy, I think that's the pit bull. So he uses his voice properly. Once again, LeBron has never been in trouble. We never seen him get in trouble. He's never been in any type of gossip column for things that are accurate or what we perceive to be inaccurate. He built a school once again. I don't know how major or how people don't understand how major that is. That's definitely major, especially from the area he's from and giving back to, unprivileged kids. He's used his voice properly from everything with Trayvon Martin and knowing word. He's done everything that you need to do as a being. Right. But once again, it goes to the point of what I'm saying. When you're trying to do right, people going to make sure they trying to make sure that you're going to do wrong. So, and then every time somebody does this, he responds in the right way. It's never passive aggressive. It's straight to the point, and I love it. So it's just somebody else that just has something to say about him. I don't really have too much else to say about it. He handled it the way that you're supposed to handle it. He has nothing to prove on and off the court. He's still giving to people. If I'm LeBron, I'm responding the same way to every time somebody says something about me. It's like, all right, bro, you got your opinion about
my fault. My dog was going crazy, but it's all settled.
It's all
so the thing with this again is you basically said everything I was going to say in regards to LeBron has used his voice he's decided to use his voice for other things, which is, for opening a school, for speaking about racism, injustice, inequality, voter suppression, and all the likes. Meanwhile, Zlatan Ibrahmovic has decided to use his voice to speak about himself in third person, call himself a lion, call himself a god, say his man bun gives him powers like he's a fucking action figure.
That's called cocaine, sir. That's not your man bun.
And the thing too is he's just a fucking asshole. Like, and it's funny because we kind of, any coach he's coached with, he's gotten into it with. For one, that's why he got driven out of Barcelona. For the soccer fans who listen to this, that's why he left Barcelona after 1 year, because Pep Guardiola was like, bro, I'm not dealing with your shit no more. You fucking my shit up. And you know what happened? Barcelona ended up having the 3 greatest years of that fucking franchise's history, which as a fan of Barcelona, I'm forever grateful for. So Zlatan, thanks for leaving, you motherfucker. Anyways, moving forward with that, this is, like I said, this is a guy, LeBron decides to use his voice to, obviously he has his little jokes with Taco Tuesday and whatever, but when it comes to talking about injustices and shit, he decides to use his voice for that. Meanwhile, this guy talks about himself in third person.
Right.
Says a lot. And in regards to the Sweden thing, because there was the comment where he said, it's ironic that this guy's telling me this when this guy says that he went through racism. This is there's an article I posted. There's an article I read, and it was from a Swedish website where they basically discussed that Because the thing is, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, he was born in Sweden, but that last name is Bosnian. He's a refugee. He's actually a refugee from Bosnian parents. So he's not Swedish. His family fled to Sweden because of the result of everything that was going on, in the world at that time. So for you to be actually say that you're dealing with undercover racism, because according to him, he's like, because my last name isn't Sorensen or Anderson, they treat me different. So it's like for you to go and say, oh, like a couple years ago that Muhammad Ali was great for what he did inside and outside the ring, and then this article was 2 years ago where he talked about you're a victim of undercover racism because your last name happens to be different from a typical Swedish last name, and they paint you in a different light. For you to go on and say that, and then to go say this about like LeBron James of all people, like that's highly fucking hypocritical. And it goes to show why people think you're a fucking asshole.
Right.
Like I'm not gonna respect and LeBron handled it the right way. Because if it was me, I would have been like, bro, I'm not hearing this motherfucker talk. There's a guy who calls himself a god and a lion, and all types of shit. And is almost 40 years old, bro. You 40 years old calling yourself all types of deities, like, bro, you a human fucking being that happens to be really good at playing soccer. Like, relax.
And the thing,
you know what I mean?
Asking this question though, like, how did LeBron name brought up?
It was from Discovery Plus. It was with in regards to them, but I don't, it doesn't show exactly. They didn't even have the full interview out. So, but regardless, it doesn't even. I don't even want to. You can't even. This is not one of those things where like certain things where that happens where it's like, oh, it's taken out of context or he was baited into that, because I'm not believing that. Because for me, from watching, football, soccer for the last, 15, 20 years, I would say around 15 years, like Zlatan is that type of guy. Like, so that's why when he said it, I'm like, bro, you really, like, I know you one of them third person, speak of yourself a third person, pompous motherfuckers, but like for you to get to this point, like you must have been bored. Like, I guess your season up. Like, for you to go into that and say all that shit, like that shit was crazy to me. Cause I'm just like, why? Like, what? I understand LeBron's the biggest target to pick because of who he is, but LeBron, as much as we could discuss about him, and he's a polarizing person to some people. I respect his greatness on the court, and I respect what he does off the court. Like, Zlatan ain't gonna go open up a fucking school. He's just gonna talk about himself in the third person for the next 2 to 3 years, or as long as he's retired. Like, it's two different people, bro. Huh?
I know kids trying to hear Zlatan talk about himself.
I don't want you to talk about that shit. I want you to talking about you a god on the line and shit, and then you can't even
kick a ball. You shut up and kick a ball. You can't use your soccer, but bro, I just can't get what I can't use my hands.
Right, like if you don't want to talk about what's happening in Sweden and Italy, and don't talk about that, then all right, stick to yourself and go talk about football all you want. But for you to go out of your way to criticize a man who's doing the right thing for people, like that's kind of crazy to me. It's like, come on, man.
That's how I be,
like,
bro.
These motherfuckers, like these motherfuckers get all these euros and all these people get all this money. They go quick to criticize LeBron, like. And I'm not a LeBron defender. I'm not any of that way, but it just comes. This is a moral values and principles issues compared to a sports issue,
right?
And like if for him or all people to say that, like the timeline is turning on him quick, because like if you literally Google his name, everybody's like, bro, this guy's a fucking asshole. Like, don't like whatever comes out of his mouth, he's talking out of his ass. This is the same guy, like I said, speaks to himself in a third person. Calls himself all kinds of deity titles and holy names and shit. Like, has nothing to show. And it's funny because people are starting to say, like, we know why you ain't win the Champions League, because you be doing fuck shit like this. Like, God don't reward people like this.
Exactly.
Like, and for you to criticize LeBron James like that, like, that shit surprised me, because I'm like, all right, maybe he's in his own little world, but for him to go into that, I'm just like,
and bro, you way overseas. Why you worried about what's going on over here?
What you worry? Yeah, like you in fucking Italy. You motherfucking like half the fucking country damn near died from coronavirus. Go worry about that.
Right.
But because he's in his own little world and he's in his own little mansion, like he just it's me. I'm Zlatan. I'm the fucking high exalted soccer player. Like everybody else could, whatever the world could burn and he don't care. As long as he's the best, as long as he could talk about himself, he don't give a fuck.
Right.
That's the type of guy you should worry about. But that's the thing. Like, how you talking about you going undercover? Like, what the fuck is undercover racism? Like, you a refugee, bro. Like, that's the thing too. Like, you're a fucking refugee. Like, you should understand how this shit works. Just because Sweden is nice, the only thing we know about Sweden recently is that they fucking put ASAP Rocky in jail for a fucking year for smacking up somebody who was trying to beat a girl up. Like, why don't you discuss injustices in Sweden? You don't discuss about that because shit must be nice and peachy for you over there.
Right.
You just mad because you're not getting publication because your last name is a Bosnian name and because you're a refugee. Like, there's bigger shit to worry about in America. There's a lot of shit that needs to be talked about. You're not in America. You're in Italy. Your fucking country the country you play soccer in right now got decimated by COVID.
Yep.
Like, worry about that. Don't worry about what's going on over here. Us in America, us American players, we're using our voice to speak about things that are going on in America. We're not talking about what's going on in Italy. We're not shutting up. Players aren't going to shut up and dribble. Players aren't going to shut up and swing a bat no more or throw a football. Players not going to do that shit anymore because enough is enough. Now, if shit is good for you over there, then go talk about fucking playing football over there. Go talk about Serie A and go talk about AC Milan. We don't want to hear you talk about LeBron James. But that's why motherfuckers don't fuck with him like that. That's why Baron Davis said what he said. That he a fucking goofy. And he was an asshole. Nobody liked him in LA. Baron Davis tell you stay out of LA.
You might want to stay out, bro.
You might want to stay out of LA, my bro.
BD, bro. Stay out of LA. I'm trying to tell you. The OG said it.
Baron Davis was playing Don't Come to LA while he was writing that tweet.
Right. So, hey, bro, you better keep that man bun over there. Don't try to go down Venice with your shirt off running through the sand.
Showing your tattoos and shit.
Right. Fake ass Steven Adams.
Call yourself a... What you call him, a fake ass Steven Adams?
Yeah. Get your ass up out of here, Aquaman, with that bullshit.
That may be the title of this episode. Fake ass Steven Adams.
So tan.
I was gonna say Devin Booker, Shane Falco, but I think fake ass Steven Adams might win that one, bro.
Hey,
that shit, Aquaman head ass, fucking don't mess with this Zlatan head ass.
Right.
Motherfucker first name sound like a Power Rangers weapon. You don't get the fuck out of here with that shit. Weird ass motherfucker, man.
Or waffle, whatever they eat over there.
You know what's crazy, bro? I have one of his PSG jerseys. I'm about to sell that shit.
Oh, you sell it for $10 in a bag of chips.
I'm gonna sell it on eBay for $111. Like, anybody want this fucking jersey?
Somebody gonna buy it.
That jersey for. Somebody will buy it.
Soccer jersey is always being sold.
Shit, I bought that jersey like 10 years ago, bro. I'm about to sell that bitch.
It might be worth something. I'm trying to do it, bro.
Fake Steven Adams. Fake ass Steven Adams. Yo, that shit just bro. White people, bro. And he a white refugee.
Oh yeah, so he really feel like he in power. He really feel like the world's done him bad.
Undercover racism, my ass. You don't get the fuck out of here with that show because your last name is different. Fucking people, bro. Hey, man. We talked about a lot today. This is probably one of our longest episodes.
It's definitely the longest since the first one. I know that.
I mean, hey, man. The world was worlding this week, so.
That's what's up. Thank you for that, world, because we need the content. So.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so I guess we get up out of here. It's been great. It's volume 10. Show your work, my brother. Go ahead and get your plug in as we exit.
Man, so follow me at Who Is Original, WHOISORIGINEL. Follow me on Twitter. Yeah, I'll just be talking shit on Twitter, man. That's all. I'm just here to voice my opinions, talk about sports, talk about the world. So follow me. Follow, rate, like, subscribe, follow the podcast too. We doing episodes weekly. So another one, man.
Another one.
Plug yourself.
Follow me at Banks No Rest 2, BANKSNOREST 2 on IG and Twitter. See what I got going on over there. Once you give us another one, volume 10 of Show Your Work.
The busiest man in podcasting, Banks, man.
No. I don't know about all that, brother. But somebody out there working, but I want to be working too. We all working, man. The whole point of it all is you're doing something with your life. That's all that matters.
That's a fact, bro. You know what I mean? So, but another one, Banks. We out. See you next week. Episode 11. We're gonna talk about Kevin Durant tweets. We got to get this Kevin Durant tweets episode, bro. I hate that every time we get one, like we got mad shit to talk about, but Kevin Durant telling Cash Doll, I'm KD, you Cash Doll and Caps is fucking incredible.
So imagine if we would have did the episode and then that would have came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I swear. Nah, I promise you, if you listen to this podcast, we need to get a KD tweets episode. I think we need to like compile like 5, and then like we get special guests to like we'll tell people, yo, send your favorite KD tweets, and we just read them off. We're gonna say that for like a week when sports are dead. Like if it's a week where sports is like interesting, like isn't really much, I promise you we're gonna have a KD tweets episode and we're gonna discuss this. The Cash Doll tweet has made the list now. So Thank you, Kevin Durant.
He's taking it back to the old KD with that.
And he hurt. So there may be some more tweets in the pipeline, man.
Yeah, he got stuff to get off his chest now.
But yeah, man. Without all that being said, man, thank y'all for tuning in. Rate, like, follow, subscribe on everything. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we are on Anchor, we're on YouTube, we everywhere. Wherever you want to listen or watch me. Like, I don't really be on camera much. I just happen to have a good day today, so I decided to be on camera. But we still, man, we appreciate everybody's support. And so next time, man, we out of here. We'll see y'all.
Yeah.